Okay, ding-dongs. If you don't subscribe to Jeremy Ice and Fire, you're gonna spend the night in the box.
Aren't Cooey.
I think this is when it happened.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I did try to warn you.
Something's different.
I am changing.
I don't know if I like who I'm becoming.
Boyd, there are a lot of people wanting to know what happened down there.
Where's Dad? Why isn't he back yet?
Tabitha.
We need to talk. It means everything they showed us. It's real. I think they're doing it to make us afraid.
Well, then it worked. There is something ancient here. And it's feeding off our suffering, and it doesn't stop.
We're losing. We're running out of time, and we still don't know the goddamn rules. There is no way to fight back against those things. Everything we've done, every sacrifice we've made, none of us are going anywhere.
You think you're some kind of hero? You're a monster.
Lord, please protect us in this dark place where evil roams so freely. This we ask in your name. Amen.
One way or another, the truth always comes out.
I would make sure it doesn't. We're running out of time, and we still don't know the rules.
Everything here is impossible, but it's also real.
Saving those children is how we all go home.
There's something else here now. Something new.
Your wife shouldn't have dug that hole, Jim.
And welcome welcome all to the official episode 5 pregame show and watch party. And here we go, folks. Here we go. Let's get this on here. Welcome one, welcome all, and here we go. This is the pregame show for episode 5, leading right into our live watch party like we do every week. And of course, the link to the watch party is already pinned in the chat, so you guys can find it very easy throughout the stream. That link will take you directly to the watch party when the episode drops just after midnight. And as our friend Samuel here says, just under 2.5 hours to go. just under 2.5 hours until episode 5 hits our screens. And I know a lot of people are excited for this episode. Just given the little bit that we've seen from the episode 5 trailer, it looks like this is going to be a really exciting episode where we're finally going to get some definitive answers. Looks like we're going to get some really good plot progression, some really good character development with Jade going down into the caves. We might have some very interesting stuff happening at Cannibal Village with the demonic Kool-Aid men making their appearance. Episode 5 looks like it's going to be an interesting one. I'm very excited for this episode.
Oh my God, me too.
Yeah.
I can't wait because I think that this is going to, and I was telling you this, right? But I think it's going to determine
Yeah.
how we move forward with a lot of theories.
Mhm.
If we do get to find out what part Tabitha and Jade played in the sacrifice, that's
Yeah.
going to determine if a lot of theories move forward or
Mhm.
if we just let go of a few, which is what I was telling you. We are dwindling down all the possibilities until we get to maybe the last 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited, and hopefully we do get to see everything, and they don't do something where he doesn't talk about what he saw. You know how
Yeah.
they
We
like
know
to
how the
do.
show can be, right? Yeah, absolutely. They love to keep it close to the vest. But yeah, no, I'm hoping that this is going to be one of those episodes where after we're done watching it, our theory crafting going forward can be a little bit more accurate, a little bit more precise. Maybe some theories get debunked tonight, and that's always a good thing. Giving us a little bit of an accurate kind of direction to point in. And that happens whenever we get some new data points. Like I imagine we're going to get tonight, just based on the trailer and the synopsis. It's looking like this is going to be the first real big episode of the season, because we haven't really had that big episode of the season yet. And I've seen a lot of other people, noticing similar. It's not like I didn't like the first 4 episodes. I like them. But we haven't had that, that one big episode yet this season. And I'm really hoping this is going to be that episode. But yeah, it's looking very interesting. I think we have some interesting things to look forward to tonight, and I'm ready. I am pumped. I am ready for episode 5. But of course, before we dive into all of the festivities and kill some time over the next 2 hours and 20 minutes or so while we wait for the episode to drop, first, I want to say what is up to all of you awesome people here in the chat. And we got some early members and super chats coming in. Thank you guys so much. We got a new member of the channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And of course, if anyone is a member, we've been talking a lot about Roger and NPC Roger and all of the egregious sins that he has been committing on the show of From throughout the first 4 seasons. His latest being thinking that he's a main character and stepping up and yanking on that rope like he's the hero of the story. So right now, fresh, brand spanking new, we have NPC Roger custom emojis in the chat for all the members. NPC custom Roger emojis. Yeah, Roger's got to go. Roger has got to go, and I know I'm glad I'm at least not the only one who shares this sentiment. We saw a lot of support for the Roger needs to go movement in the comment section, so that was really cool to see. But yeah, Roger, man, he's got to go. He's got to go. He's overlived his usefulness. I think he's more of a hindrance than an asset at this point. But yeah, welcome. Thank you so much for becoming a new member of the channel, and welcome. So glad to have you. So glad to have you. We also have West of Westeros kicking us off tonight with a $19.99 super chat. Thank you so much, West of Westeros. Very much appreciate you, my friend. You've been super supportive of the channel, and I almost feel bad every time I see a super chat from West of Westeros, because I feel like you've given me enough. Stop, just come and hang out. You don't gotta. But it's super supportive, and it really does mean a lot. Thank you so much, my friend. And we had a blast hanging out with you the other night. And I know based on some of the comments we saw, it seemed the chat was really enjoying it. I know PM loved your appearance here on the show.
Oh my God, yes. I love seeing you guys. I thought it was so cool that you showed up and you joined the call because you have the best questions. They're always really interesting questions that get us from, we start talking about one subject and we end up completely discussing something totally different. So I thought it was so fun. You are a lot of fun, West of Westeros, a lot of fun. But with the Roger thing, to me, what's funny is that Jeremy has been compiling evidence against Roger. It's almost like Jeremy has had it out for Roger and he was just waiting. He was like writing down all of his egregious mistakes and waiting for the perfect time to just take out this hatred that he has for poor Roger.
It's been festering. It's been festering inside me. I honestly, Roger's got to go. And Roger's been on my shit list ever since he was one of the ringleaders that stormed into Tien Chen's house, nearly knocked over poor Tien Chen to steal all of her food when the food shortage first started. So Roger's going to go. I've had it out for Roger ever since then. And then to see what he's doing this season, him, Roger the NPC stepping up like he's a main character. What are you doing, Roger? Don't touch that rope. And then again, I know we went over it last stream, but to make it even more egregious, after Roger yanks on that rope, not knowing what the heck's on the other end of it, knowing that this is Fromville, knowing that this is a nightmarish landscape with monsters and all manner of supernatural things trying to kill you, knowing that, he still just yanks on this random rope that he sees going into the lake. And then to make matters even worse, this was what really put me over the edge with Roger. Yanking the rope was bad enough. This was the straw that broke the camel's back right here, was when I saw this. Not only did you yank on this rope and unearth these nightmarish scarecrow creatures that are probably going to kill somebody around you, but not you, because weasels like this always get everybody else around them killed while they freaking make it away. But then on top of that, on top of unearthing these nightmarish creatures, then you stand there in the background, practically having a lunch break while everybody else does the hard work of trying to freaking pull these things out of lake. Yeah, I've reached my limit with Roger. He's got to go.
He's got to go. And I think he is, right? I think we're definitely going to see some deaths and they need to start happening because 47 people, that's too much for my poor Boyd to carry on through the exit, okay? That's just way too much. He cannot deal. It has to be less people. So if we could get rid of some of the not so important characters, I know that a lot of the comments were saying maybe Donna would be somebody that goes. And I do see that she's not going to make it. That's my opinion. She's probably not going to get out of From, but I don't think that she's going to die in this episode.
Not this
I just
episode,
don't think so.
No.
Is she going to get hurt? I think she's going to get hurt because we have a picture where she is holding a cane. So is she going to get hurt? Potentially, but I don't think she's going to die. Not yet.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of almost wish that picture of the cane wasn't released, because now, and again, I know a lot of fans have been, talking about this from the very beginning and have had some complaints about some of the things that have been in the trailer, some big revealing things that maybe some of us wish weren't in the trailer. And I totally understand that. Again, like with the Scarecrow thing, I also do wish that we didn't know these Scarecrow things were coming. Knowing that they're already coming takes away half of the excitement of them coming around, of not expecting a scene like that, But now that we're expecting it, now that we know that it's coming, it's not going to land as good as it would have landed. But yeah, I think Donna is going to die at some point. I feel like, and a lot of you guys had similar kind of ideas where after seeing that scene between Donna and Tabitha, with Donna, telling her like, hey, if something dangerous needs to be done, I'll be the one to do it, not you. It just felt like that was very much a foreshadowing for how Donna will eventually later on die protecting Tabitha, or to die protecting Tabitha's children. So I do think that was a big foreshadowing for her death, but no, I don't think it's going to come in this episode either. I agree with you. That cane shot kind of nixed that. But yeah. Either way, I think it's still going to be a good episode. I wonder who is going to get, pummeled by this thing, because we did see the Scarecrow creature busting into the hut, but we don't exactly get a really good look as to who the Scarecrow is teeing off on. So that'll be pretty fun. Even though we know the things are coming, it's still going to be fun to see the rest of the scene play out. Where are they going to go? This is the middle of nighttime when this is happening, when they're inside their hut with their talisman, believing that they're safe. Next thing they know, they have a demonic Kool-Aid men bursting through the freaking front door, not in a friendly manner either. what exactly are they going to do? Where are they going to go? Where are they going to find shelter? Where are they going to find safety? Are they just going to have to kind of try and hide somewhere in the woods and hope that these things and the monsters don't find them? So again, even though we know that it's coming, I'm still very much looking forward to seeing how the rest of the scene plays out, because we don't know how the rest of it's going to go. We just know they're going to show up.
Yeah, exactly. And I really like what the chat is saying. Blue said, Donna is going to go out in a blaze of glory. And
Totally.
that would be Donna's style. It really would be. That is who
Mhm.
she is, right? She's a very tough woman.
Yeah.
So I would like her to have a goodbye that's fitting for the character.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the chat is asking Jeremy if you could let them know when the episode comes out.
Yes, the episode drops at 12 midnight, 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time, which is around 2 hours and 10 minutes from right now. I'm here on the East Coast, so I go by East Coast time. So 10 p.m., 12 Eastern, 12 midnight Eastern is when the actual episode will be dropping on MGM Plus. But for those of you who don't get access to it right away, right at midnight, you'll also have the option of going into our Discord and joining the watch party there as well. Our good pal, our other co-host Ravener, he will be running a watch party for the new episode right at midnight, right after it drops. So as soon as this stream ends, anybody who doesn't watch it on their own screen is more than welcome to hop into the Discord and watch it there for the watch party. And then you can come back here afterwards for the after show discussion like we always do every week. But yes, we are around just over 2 hours away from the episode dropping. Just over 2 hours. We got 2 hours to kill, ladies and gents. 2 hours to kill while we wait. But yeah, Donna's definitely not going to go quietly. Like whenever it is her time, yeah, I 100% agree with all of you that are echoing that similar sentiment. When Donna does go out, I have a feeling it's going to be in a pretty badass way. Like it has to be. I mean, if you're going to kill off a character like Donna, you have to make her death worthy of her character, or at least you would hope anyway. At least, any good writer worth their salt, when they kill off good characters, they make the death worthy of the character, at least for the most part. Yes, there are tragic deaths sometimes that come unexpected, and that is very good writing too, like we saw what happened with Tien Chen. But with Donna, the kind of character that she is, the foreshadowing that we just got from that conversation with her and Tabitha, yeah, when Donna does die, it's got to be going out in a blaze of glory, for sure. Probably saving Tabitha and Ethan and Julie, maybe. Or even Fatima, or even saving
she's
Fatima.
very heroic. She's
Yeah.
very heroic. We do know this about Donna. While we don't know everything that she was doing in the real world, she
Yeah.
mentions that in From, at least you know who the monsters are, which
True.
makes me think that when she was in the real world, for some reason, she didn't have the community that she has in From.
Yeah.
She didn't have the friends that she has in From. And
Yeah.
so, therefore, to her, she was comfortable. She wasn't really trying to get out. She
Yeah.
wasn't really helping other people either. She just kind of hung out at Colony House, and their motto was live for today. They
Yeah.
were not interested in trying to find a way out. The only people that we really saw going out there and trying to get information was townspeople, right?
Mhm.
So it makes sense that to Donna, being outside, like escaping this place, isn't that much of a priority. Even though it sounds crazy, she doesn't really make it a priority. She's not asking to go home. She's not looking to go
No.
home or looking for answers.
Mm-mm. And not only is she not making it a priority to go home, but in season 1, when she was faced with the prospect of potentially going home when they were building that radio, she lost it. That was like the first time we ever actually, because Donna was very cool and composed throughout all of season 1. Even when the Colony House attack happened, she was still pretty cool and kept her composure. But then at the end of the season, the end of the first season, we finally see Donna just freak the hell out for the first time. And it's her, faced with the possibility of potentially leaving this place. We see her grab the axe. She goes into the kitchen at Colony House and starts just smashing up the floor. You need wood? I got wood for you right here. Like she was on one. Like we saw her losing it. And that was because she was faced with the possibility that she might be leaving this place. And yeah, she doesn't really want to leave as much as everyone else. Yeah, I'm sure she doesn't love it here. But like you said, we've heard it in her own words. At least here, the monsters have the decency of telling you who they are, showing you who they are. And then you look at everything that Donna has at Connie House. She's got a huge family. Just that's her family. Those aren't people she's living with. Those aren't roommates. Donna looks at Connie House as her family. If they all go home, if she and all of them go home, she loses all of that. It's not like they're all going to live together when they get back to the outside world. No, they're all going to go back to the lives that were left behind when they got stuck here in the first place. So Donna knows leaving this place means losing her family. So I think that's why she was freaking out so much towards the end of season 1 when they were building the radio tower. But yeah, I mean, she's found, at least in her words, according to her, she's found what she feels is a true family with Tabitha and her children, and how they're as much family as she's ever had. So yeah, I definitely see Donna going out that way, but I don't see it being this episode. Might not even be this season. Might not even be till next season. But no, let us know what you guys think as well, because we do have, I've seen quite a few comments that have been kind of split in the chat tonight in terms of, will we even lose a main character tonight or not? And I'm leaning a little bit more towards not. I don't think we'll lose any main characters. I'm hoping we're going to lose Roger's ass. But I have a feeling even Roger's going to fucking make it out of that attack. Again, weasels like Roger that cause the kind of danger that he causes, they're always the type to get everybody else around them killed while they make it. So I could totally see Roger being the one that unearthed these things, and him being the one red shirt, the one background character that actually survives it, and the female background character that's with them, maybe she's going to end up getting killed. I very much worry for that woman NPC. But yeah, no, I don't know. If I had to just guess going into this 5th episode, I don't think we'll lose any main characters, but I could be wrong. Who knows? Some people think Donna might go tonight, as like Faceless Girl says here. I would bet 90% chance she dies this episode, which again is a possibility. You never know. We are at the beginning of the end now, and you would definitely start to think that plot armor is going to get a lot thinner the closer we get to the end, even for our main characters. So yeah, let us know what you guys think in the chat. Are we going to lose any main characters tonight? What do you think, PM? Any main characters going to get killed off tonight?
I would be surprised. I said, I expect Donna to be hurt because we have that picture of her holding a cane. Other than that, I think it's going to be the extras. But I love what the chat is saying. Kristen in the chat says, Jeremy hates Roger with a burning passion. He does. He really does. I didn't know right? Who would have known? Who would have known?
Who would have known? Who would have known I was even capable of this kind of
such hatred,
this vitriol? Yeah, Roger's got to go. He's you don't almost knock over my poor Tien Shen and steal all of her food and just make away unscathed. You can't get away with that, Roger. You can't do that, especially after this last stunt you pulled. Nah, you got to go, pal. You got to go. But yeah, I guess we'll see. I'm with you as well, PM. I don't think we'll lose any main characters tonight. At least I'm not expecting it, but you never know. But I am expecting to lose at least an extra or two when we have this attack at Cannibal Village. What do you guys think Tabitha will say when she sees Julie's shitty hairdo? Yeah, I don't know. I imagine she'll be a little bit surprised maybe, but I don't know. I imagine Tabitha probably won't think too much of it. Maybe we'll probably just think Julie needs some kind of change after the death of her father and all of this. But like you said, Xavier, the wigs in Fromville, we've seen better. We've definitely seen better wigs. And it almost looks like her hair color is like completely different now too. Like where her hair was like a little bit lighter, like super, super dark brown. Now it looks like jet black. So it's almost like the wig they got didn't completely match her normal hair color. But you have to, it's just a wig at the end of the day. But I have noticed a lot of people mentioning it. A lot of people, we've been getting a lot of comments about the wigs on From this season.
And I like the bad wigs on From. I feel like now that they are such a part of the show, everybody has to have, if you're going to cut your hair, it has to be a bad haircut. And if it's going to be a wig, it has to be a bad wig, right? Yeah. I find it very endearing. But what will Tabitha say? I think that Tabitha is just gonna I don't know, gonna ignore it.
Yeah.
Tabitha kind of is a hands-off parent.
Mhm.
She
Yeah.
very hands-off, right? Those children are free-range children who go around doing what they like. And so I found it really interesting that Tabitha didn't insist that Julie go with them because both of her children are grieving. They
Yeah.
just lost their father. This is when you would expect to say, I need to be with
I
both of
want
my
my kids
children.
close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right. I mean, yeah, she had that conversation with Randall and, was telling Randall, if anything ever happens to my daughter in, in your care, you're going to feel my wrath type thing. So maybe Tabitha just feels safe knowing someone's looking after Julie. But no, I'm with you. Like if I was Tabitha, I would have her coming with me as well. I'm like, you're not leaving my sight now. Nope. But yeah, again, I think it's going to be this whole Cannibal Village thing. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing and learning a little bit more about this place because this place was so intriguing when it was first introduced in season 3. It was so mysterious. We see our characters there at night. We hear these weird knocking and tappings on the cabins. We have no idea what's doing it, what's walking around outside, what's stalking them. And then we didn't really get any answers. Like we didn't really learn anything about the ruined settlement in season 3. They introduced it and kind of just left it open-ended. So I really hope we get some answers this season for sure. For sure. Take care of my bad wig if I die. Yes, take care of the bad wig if I die. But one thing I will say about Julie and the wig, I'm glad that they at least put a pretty decent reason in terms of writing, in terms of narratively, why she cuts her hair. Because a lot of us were wondering that, like, why does she cut her hair? At some point, she's going to end up cutting her hair. What is the motive behind it? And I thought they had a pretty good reason. They gave her at least a pretty good reason for cutting her hair. That last time I was story walking, the monster grabbed me by the hair, and I'm not letting that happen again. So it was strategic. It's not like it was a fashion choice or anything. It was a strategic haircut, I guess you could say. But so I'm glad that they threw that in, and it wasn't just kind of like Christie's haircut. It was just kind of just there one day with no explanation. But we got Westeros for $1.99. Thank you so much, Westeros. Excitement rating 1 to 10. On a scale from 1 to 10, let us know, chat. How excited are you for episode 5? On a scale from 1 to 10. Now, for me, on a scale from 1 to 10, I don't know. I don't really gauge my excitement for episodes much. So I'm not quite sure where I should rate this one, but I am kind of looking forward to this one just based on everything we saw in the trailer. So I would say excitement rating, I'm at about an 8, 9 maybe. I'm excited for this episode. It looks like this is going to be the first really, really kind of big one of the season.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, my excitement is 10. Not that I
Awesome.
haven't liked the previous episodes, they have been good. We got a lot of answers, but they're different. The feeling is changing. We've talked about this. It feels different than the past seasons have felt because they are going about it in a different way where they will tell you answers, like the man in yellow when he becomes Sophia saying, this is why I had to change. You see, I couldn't come to them as I was. And that's not from like, that doesn't really fit the aesthetic of what we're used to. We're
The
not used
writing
to
doesn't
somebody's
usually hold your hand like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not used to somebody sitting down and telling us, this is why I'm here. And this is, what happened.
This is what I'm
So
going to do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to get back to the main characters. I love Sophia and I like that we spent some time with her, but I want to get back to Jade and Jade going on his journey and Tabitha, right? I want to see more about those main core characters.
Yeah.
And I know Sophia's going to be up to no good. We know that.
Yeah.
That's what we could expect from her. She's going to be up to no good, throwing herself, hitting herself, which was hilarious to me. That you are an entity that could do anything you want. You could like break your bones if you wanted to. You could give yourself a seizure. But what you decide as an entity, an ancient evil entity, is to throw yourself in the pool. Okay.
It's interesting choice. It was an interesting choice. Yes. But yeah, no, I am. I'm very excited for this one. And another thing that I'm really excited for, and I know some of you are as well, just based on some of the comments we've been getting on some of our videos, is that you guys really want some more monster action. We have not gotten much monster scenes this season so far. We got that one little quick scene of Smiley in the caves in episode 1 saying hi to Kenny. And then we got that other one monster scene of Julie when she story walked back to the RV episode when Boyd was using the bile bullets. Season 2, episode 9, I believe. But other than that, the monsters have been suspiciously absent. And I know that is something a lot of people have been talking about. They want more monsters. And I totally understand that sentiment. You know, what I said in my video was, the monsters, the original monsters on from season 1, they're what made the show great. The monsters are what made this show so freaking good in those first few seasons. So I totally understand people wanting some more monster action. I get what MGM and From is doing. I mean, they just introduced their main villain in The Man in Yellow, now Sophia. So I understand why we maybe haven't seen as much of the monsters yet. They kind of have to set up this main villain. But man, you know, the original monsters are what made this show so good in the first place. So I'm really glad we're finally getting some good monster action in this episode. It looks like we're going to be seeing a lot of them, and maybe even getting some answers depending on what happens down in that cave with Jade. And it seems like a lot of you are excited for the episode. We got a lot of scores varying. We got some 10s, 110s, a 6.5, 7.5, 9. We got a lot of 9s, a lot of 9s and 10s, a lot of 7.5s. All right, it seems like people are excited for this one. Seems like people are excited for this one, and the obligatory 420, of course, as well. Yeah, the episodes have been good, but they ended so abrupt. And yeah, I definitely can see that with some. I mean, some of the episodes, the way they end, the ending scene doesn't always feel like an ending scene. And that's one thing that I've always noticed about From. Like, if you go back and look at all of the episodes of From, the last scene of an episode, it's usually like a good definitive scene or some kind of cliffhanger. This episode ended on a pretty good note, I thought, with the monsters kind of coming up from the bottom of the lake after NPC Roger thought he was a main character and yanked on that rope. But other than that, yeah, some of the ending scenes did maybe feel a little abrupt. So I know what you mean. But again, I think episode 4 ended in a pretty good manner. And if we didn't know what was already coming up from that lake, that would have been an even better ending. Like, if we didn't know what was coming out of the lake, man, that would have been such a good ending. But it was still decent. It was still pretty decent. Again, I do think, though, that this is going to be that episode, the episode that really kind of takes the show kind of steps forward, takes the show forward in the right direction, I guess I'm trying to say. Because yeah, I agree with some of you. I feel like the first 4 episodes, they weren't bad. They weren't bad by any means, but they definitely weren't the greatest episodes of From that we've seen in the history of From, I guess, when looking at the show as a whole. The first 4 episodes were good, just not super great, at least for me. Just I can only speak for myself, and the few of you that I've seen echo similar sentiments. But again, it's still good. I'm still very much enjoying it, and I really think this is going to be a freaking killer episode just based on everything we're seeing in the trailer. Let me catch up on these. We got West of Westeros coming in like a mad lad. I already owe him like 10 glitter bombs. We got West of Westeros again for $1.99. Thank you so much, West of Westeros. Please give this live a like. Thank you so much, my friend. Very, very much appreciate that. And again, we have West of Westeros for another $1.99. Everyone watching, go press like on this live, please. Thank you so much, my friend. Very much appreciate that. Very, very much appreciate that. And then we have West of Westeros again for $4.99. This one's for you, PM. PM, makeup strong. Snatch. Yeah, he likes your makeup.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Makeup is like one of my hobbies I'm very passionate about. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
you guys
PM's
are so nice.
Very good. PM's very good
Very
with her
sweet.
makeup. Very good
So
with her
sweet.
makeup. Yeah.
I think you should give West of Westeros. We're beyond Glitter Bomb. I
Right?
think you should do a clip. Have you gotten a chance to do clips for the new season? Like
Not
when
yet.
Acosta leaves. Okay. So, but we have
Not
like Boyd, when Boyd leaves Randall behind, which is one of
Yep.
my favorite clips.
Love that
Can
one.
we play a clip for him?
Yeah, is that the one you want to play? Yeah, we'll play that one. we will play that one, the clip of poor old Randall getting left behind by Boyd.
You looking for these?
Motherfucker!
Take them. We get to keep Randall, though. You can't save them all.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Motherfuckers! Fuck you! Boy! Boy, did you leave me a piece of shit?
Boyd, don't you leave me a piece of shit.
I
Man,
love
poor
that
Randall.
Boyd calls the monsters motherfuckers. I'm like,
Yeah.
and when I saw that and he was like cursing them out, and he's
Yeah.
like, fine, he takes the keys. He still has rage, and he's like,
Rage.
motherfuckers, like he calls them that. They don't care.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Yeah, it's, you can tell he doesn't want to do this. The last thing that Boyd wants to do is leave a man behind. Boyd is a military man at the end of the day. He's an army man at the end of the day. He lives his life by a code, by a creed, leave no man behind. So for him to have to leave Randall behind in that moment, that was so hard for Boyd. And yeah, you can see the anger and the frustration that he had to even do this just coming out of him, just very comedically, because it was hilarious. And that's, due to Harold Perrineau just being a phenomenal actor. But yeah, that was really tough for Boyd. That was definitely tough for Boyd to leave him behind. And we got West of Westeros again for another $4.99. Thank you so much, my friend. Stay for this full live and then join the watch party. Yes, thank you, my friend. Thank you indeed. Yes, we will be hosting a live watch party in the Discord like we do every week. I know a lot of you have access to MGM Plus, so you'll have access to the episode right at midnight when it comes out. But for some of those who don't, you'll be able to hop into the Discord and watch the episode in there, as our other co-host, Lord Ravener, will be streaming the episode live when it drops just after midnight. So yeah, we'll be doing our pregame show here right now. We're going to kill some time. We got a little less than 2 hours to go until episode 5 is loaded onto MGM Plus. So we will kill some time over the next 2 hours, and then we will dive into the Discord, into the live watch party. And then after that, we'll be right back on here on YouTube doing our live breakdown. So yeah, it should be a fun night of festivities. These Saturdays have been super fun lately, doing the pregame shows, the watch parties, and the after shows. These have been so fun to do, and I'm super thankful that any of you choose to come and hang out with us for a little bit. Really am. Like, these have been super fun.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, you stay up till 6 a.m. discussing the episode, right? So, and I think what's, to me, the funnest part is watching the episode and immediately having
Talking
friends
about
to
it.
talk about the episode with, right?
Yeah,
Because I watch very intently, but before we had the community, you didn't have anybody to talk to
yeah.
about the episode, right?
Mhm.
Or if you talk to them about it, they don't want to talk about it for more than 10 minutes, right? But the episodes are so good that you want to dissect every little detail and what it could potentially mean. That is my favorite part, that immediately when the episode ends, we get on here and we talk about all of your ideas, which are amazing, by the way. I think that you guys figured out the bookmark. It was you guys right after the episode that said Victor's drawings or the clothing could be the bookmark. And
Good theory,
I
yeah.
think, yeah, I think you guys are going to be right.
I mean, the chat is right far more often than they are ever wrong. I found, like, you guys really do come up with some really good theories, and a lot of them end up coming true. Like this whole Sophia thing. Like I really was not. I was really hoping that Sophia and the Man in Yellow were going to be two separate characters heading into the season. But a lot of you were right on it. You thought, yeah, nah, fuck that. Sophia is not Sophia. That's the Man in Yellow, and it was. And it was. But yeah, we also have $1.99 for West of Westeros for Kiwi Skirt. And yeah, Kiwi Skirt, our awesome resident mod. Always so awesome to have Kiwi Skirt as a mod. She's always dropping the link to the Discord in the chat. So if you guys ever need help finding it, you won't have to look too far if Kiwi is in the chat. So thank you, West of Westeros. And thank you, Kiwi, for being an awesome mod. And West of Westeros again for another $4.99. So the golem comes to life, is going to walk down the stairs or fall through the roof. I don't know. I guess that's a very good question. Is it going to just fall through the roof or walk down the stairs? I have to imagine if this thing is going to come to life at all, I imagine it'll probably take the stairs. Now, just based on the mythology and the lore around golems, at least based on the original Hebrew version, these things are brought to life through a very specific ritual or incantation, usually involving a biblical word from the Hebrew Bible inscribed on a piece of paper and put inside the golem's mouth, or written directly on the golem's forehead. That is usually how they are brought to life. And only by removing the paper or wiping the word off the golem's forehead can you deactivate them. But again, they're also very much known of growing beyond the control of their creators, which is why it very much invokes the kind of Victor Frankenstein's monster parallel between Fatima and the golem. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, when it comes to this golem, I'm not 100% sure if it's even going to get brought to life. I wouldn't, if it ends up just being like a symbolic kind of signal of strength for Fatima, I could totally see that being the case, because we hear her talking about building it, and she describes feeling strong. Building this thing makes her feel strong. It's making her feel like has some kind of way of fighting back against Smiley. So we might not see the golem be brought to life at all. It might just be a source of strength for Fatima so she can conquer this Smiley connection, or at least cope with it.
Sure. I think the reason why we are considering the fact that the golem could come to life, and if it's gonna take the stairs or just fall through, is because in the past I would have said no. It doesn't fit the aesthetic of the show. In the show, while it is horror, it is very sophisticated. So having a mud creature coming down the banister is probably not going to be their aesthetic. But because we are now having scarecrows that come to life and are beating up people the way that we have seen them do, like the demonic Kool-Aid man, what you call them, anything is possible. If they're coming to life, why not the golem, right?
Yep. Exactly.
And why create a champion of sorts at the same time that you are encountering these scarecrows? You're making a champion for you. It kind of seems like maybe it's going to be, that Godzilla versus King Kong sort of, maybe the champion is going to be the golem on the side of the people. He's going to get there right on time, and he's going to save the people from the scarecrows.
The golem versus the scarecrows. I mean, again, before we saw anything from this season, I would have said probably not. We probably won't see anything like that on this show. But yeah, I mean, heading into season 4, the aesthetic and the horror of the show has changed a little bit. They have broadened a little bit, I guess you could say. And they're including elements that previously I would have thought we wouldn't have seen on the show, like giant scarecrows and golems and whatever else we have getting thrown at us. So yeah, for that reason, I guess I wouldn't be too surprised if the golem came to life. I guess I'm not really expecting it to, but I certainly would not be surprised if it did come to life. And if it does come to life, I certainly will not be surprised if it grows beyond her control. Maybe she can control it for a little bit. Maybe it comes to life and they have this, the appearance of it being a champion for them. But I don't think that'll last. Golems, again, are very known for turning on their creators and wreaking havoc and devastation. But yeah, I guess it'll be interesting to see. What do you guys think in the chat? Let us know what you think. Will the golem come to life or not? Where do you guys land on the whole golem debate? Will we see this thing come to life or not? What do you guys think in the chat? And we have Mike, who has been a member for 20 months. What is up, Michael? Good to see you, my friend. I hope you are doing well. And thank you so much for being a member for 20 months. Wow, holy cow. Victor told Ethan they were both, quote unquote, chosen. What do you think that means? Yeah, I mean, I think what that means is that they were all chosen. I think towards the beginning of the season, they kind of start throwing around this idea that none of them were brought here by accident, that each one of us were brought here for a reason. I think Father Cautry might be the first character to say it, or Ethan. But I think it's along the lines of that. I think, yeah, every person that was brought in here was brought here for a very specific reason. Was Ethan's reason and Victor's reason similar? Maybe. A lot of people look at Victor and Ethan and they see a lot of parallels between the character. And a lot of people have theorized that Ethan will become the next Victor, and which would be utterly tragic, but he certainly is a type of character that could be set up to follow a similar trajectory of Victor. If things don't go their way, if Jade and Tabitha don't find a way to solve this, if they don't find a way to stop the man in yellow, if they don't find a way to save the children, Ethan very much could end up becoming another Victor. But when it comes to them, quote unquote, being chosen, I think that's what it is referring to. That everybody that has been brought here, they haven't just been brought here at random. Everyone has been chosen for a specific purpose. They're not from Village just pulling random people in here. They're pulling specific people in here for specific purposes, I think.
Yeah, they're not just pulling randoms.
No,
I
not just
think,
randoms. Except for your random NPC Roger. He's about the only
I
random.
mean, he was chosen, right?
Even
By your
Roger is
logic, Roger was chosen. So you're hating on him, and he was chosen by this place.
well, he's the least of the chosen.
I believe it's the children who decide who comes in to assist their parents in saving them. That's
Okay.
why each and every one has a special skill that fits perfectly into what they need to do. Like, come on, when you think about Boyd, you couldn't think of somebody more perfect than Boyd to have in from. He's the
Yep.
perfect person to create order in a very chaotic environment.
Yep.
So his wife also, Iron Abbey, she seemed like she would have been a good ally, contestant, helper in from, because she was also very tough and had skills. Of course, now we know how that worked out. Some people don't make it, but
Yeah.
I believe it's the children. They don't do it because they're bad. To them, they're doing it to help Tabitha and Jade, to create an atmosphere where they have people that can help them with specific skills and talents. So, yeah, I think everybody's chosen for sure.
Mm.
Now, when it comes to Ethan, right? Ethan being chosen, I mean, I just don't think that they would have a whole nother situation where there is a child left behind.
I
Because
hope not. Yeah.
did Victor ever mention that when he got there, there was somebody that had been there for 50 years? If
Yep.
there is a pattern, then perhaps, but he doesn't mention anything like that, right? Somebody that had
Yep.
been there for a long time. He says he was alone.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I think I think with the show ending with Ethan becoming the next Victor, even as well as it could fit with Ethan's trajectory, yeah, I don't see them doing that again. I think you're right. I don't see them following that same kind of story tread. I very much think that this is going to be the group that breaks the cycle. Now, will all of them survive it? No, of course not. A lot of them probably won't, or at least I'm expecting a lot of our main characters to not survive this. But I do think this is ultimately the group that is going to break the cycle. Otherwise, why would John Griffin set his story in this time period with this group, with these characters? This is going to be the group that is going to be successful. I mean, I suppose it's always a possibility that that's not true. There's always a possibility that this show is going to end a lot darker than we all think, and no one's going to survive. But I just don't see that being the case. Even though it's possible, I just don't see this story going down that road. I see them finding a way to break the cycle, but I also see it coming at an incredibly high cost to whoever is surviving at the end, whoever is left when this is all said and done, when they make it out, whoever's left, they're going to be damaged. They're going to be incredibly damaged. They're never going to be the same. So I am hoping that whoever does survive, whoever does make it out, there's going to be very much lasting consequences to these characters, that they'll never be the same again. And I always enjoy endings like that, endings where the good does triumph over evil, but the good is never the same again. They're never the same person again. They like I always bring up the Lord of the Rings. When you look at Frodo went on this incredibly difficult underdog journey, a journey that he should have died a million times over on. But he did it. He succeeded. He made it to Mount Doom. He threw the ring in. He destroyed, well, didn't throw it in, but the ring ended up going into Mount Doom. He was successful. He completed his mission. Yet by the time he gets home, by the time he makes it all the way back to the Shire, he knows he can't stay there. He knows he can't just go back to living that same old life in the Shire. He's changed, for better or for worse. He's not the same Frodo anymore. He's damaged, deeply damaged, to the point where he doesn't even feel comfortable going back to his own people. I would love to see a similar kind of ending where the few characters that do survive here and from and do make it out are severely damaged and they're never the same ever again. There needs to be some kind of price. There needs to be some kind of cost to the people that do survive. So I am expecting a kind of bittersweet ending, I guess, in somewhere in that realm, or at least I'm hoping for. But yeah, I do ultimately think this is going to be the cycle that does break the cycle. This is going to be the group that finally does succeed. It's just a matter of how they're going to succeed and who's going to be left over afterwards.
Yeah, I think it's impossible for them to go through the experience that they're going through and come out of it the same, which is why when Kenny was telling Boyd the Fatima that we know is not that Fatima up there making that mud sculpture, right?
Perfect
To
example.
to me, it just seemed like out of place when it came to Kenny. Because if anybody can understand that this place changes you and it takes away from you and it distorts what you value, it should be Kenny. How does he expect Fatima to go through a demonic, immaculate birth and then be the same Fatima that she used to be? Does he expect her to be getting high and looking after her little weed plants and just happy as a clam? That's
This ray of
not.
sunshine. Yeah.
That's not possible. Just like Kenny himself is not going to be as happy as he was when his mother was around, when his father was around. He should have understood we are never going back to who we used to be. So when he's being a little bit harsh on Fatima, saying that is not the Fatima that we know, yeah, that's not the Fatima that you know. She's been through something really traumatic, and you are not the same Kenny that walked in there. So you have to accept the changes. I thought it was so sweet. It's such a beautiful moment between um, father-in-law and daughter-in-law when Boyd, instead of judging, instead of telling her she's crazy or anything like that, or questioning, pushing her too far, he just says, okay, can we help you? Like, he just is okay and willing to understand, like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. If that's helping you. So without judgment, he treats her in a very soft and kind manner. And I thought it was very sweet to see both of them, independent of Ellis, have that understanding. It's when, like, one of the moments that you see Boyd really loves Fatima. He really likes her. And I thought it was really sweet.
Yeah, no, I do. I completely agree. You definitely, you can definitely get that sense that it's like a daughter to him. This Fatima's his daughter, just like Ellis is his son. She was about to be the mother of his grandchild. So yeah, you definitely get that sense that Boyd genuinely, really, really cares for Fatima. 100% agree. We got West of Westeros for another $1.99. I want my clip as Jade. Is Kenny here? Yeah, I that is definitely one I'm gonna make, and I will definitely have it uploaded before tomorrow's stream. The is that Kenny? That was one of the funnier moments in the season so far. So yes, I will definitely get that made into a clip, and I will get that uploaded. We have Westeros again for another $4.99. This one's for you, PM. Absolutely, King Kong versus Godzilla. Yeah, I mean, it would kind of be like King Kong versus Godzilla if we saw the Golem and the Scarecrows kind of going at it. It would be interesting, if nothing else.
I just think the word choice was very interesting when Boyd says a champion of sorts. Because you could say a golem is, a little statue or something else like an effigy, something. But he says a champion. A golem is a champion. So we could use one, right? And it's like foreshadowing that, yeah, they need a champion. they're probably gonna need that golem. I'm hoping that it comes to life. I know that you are not a big fan of things coming to life like that, but
No,
I'm hoping that it comes to life.
No, I wouldn't say I'm not a big fan of things coming to life like that. Again, now that we're in season 4, now that the horror aspect of the show has changed a little bit, I think it wouldn't be as out of place now as something like that maybe would have been in like season 1, 2, or 3. But no, I mean, like you said, like one thing we've always really admired about the show is that the horror has been pretty sophisticated for the most part. It hasn't gotten too whimsical and stuff. It's been pretty sophisticated, good, grounded horror for the most part. But yeah, no, it's not that I don't want the thing to come to life. My whole thing is if it does come to life, I just hope they do it in an interesting way. Because one thing I've loved about From is that they never need to rely heavily on CGI. Like I think only once in the whole history of the show have we ever gotten a full CGI character. Everything else has always been practical. The only time we ever see like a full-on, completely 100% CGI character was the first time we saw the kimono creature in season 2, which ended up being a completely different version in season 3. Like the season 3 kimono creature we got was played by an actual actress. But the season 2 version seemed to be just a computer CGI generated version. And it looked out of place. When I remember seeing that scene and just thinking, this looks out of place. This feels a little out of place from, compared to the horror aesthetic we've had up until this point. So I guess that's my only hesitation, or I guess that's my only concern or, wondering heading into this whole golem thing. If this thing does come to life, what's it going to look like? I guess what's it going to look like on screen? Are they going to have a practical version of it, or is it going to be one of the a full-on CGI scene? And again, that's just one thing that I've really loved about From. They haven't really relied much on CGI. Just about all of the horror, just about all of the gore and everything we've gotten has been just really, really good practical effects that look incredibly real. And I always like to point out the Smiley autopsy scene as a good example of that. You look at that scene, you look at Smiley laying on that table, you genuinely think it's the actor for a lot of those scenes, but it's not. It's a completely made replica made out of rubber, but it looks so real. It looks so good. Like the practical effects are so chilling. So I guess that's my only thing I'm wondering about heading into, this episode and the rest of the season. When it comes to these scarecrows and the golem, how's it going to look, I guess is my only concern. But no, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing which way it goes one way or another. Golems are incredibly fascinating creatures. I'm a huge Frankenstein fan, so I love the Frankenstein parallel between the golem and Fatima and Victor Frankenstein and his monster. Incredibly prevalent there, those two. So no, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how it's going to go. I guess my only concern is I hope it's not too heavily CGI'd, I guess. But who knows? We'll see. Maybe it'll be CGI and maybe it'll end up being kick-ass too. That's also a possibility as well. The thing could be full-on CGI and maybe it'll actually look good. That's also a possibility. So yeah, I don't want to kind of, discount it before I actually see it. I want to actually see it first and see what they're doing with it and then make my judgment from there. But yeah, no, I think it'll be interesting one way or another, whether the golem does come to life and ends up being a champion of them, or whether the golem comes to life and ends up breaking free from her control. It's going to be interesting whatever happens, or if it doesn't come to life at all, if it just ends up becoming a source of strength for Fatima, even that would be interesting. But I have seen a few of you in the chat, comparing the golem to the bile bullet, saying they better not be stringing us along again with this golem. This thing better come to life. It better not be another bile bullet moment. So I definitely understand, you guys that are saying that as well. I totally understand that sentiment. And we got Ray for $20. Thank you so much, Ray. Very, very much appreciate you. And yes, I 100% agree and echo this sentiment. Kiwi is one of, if not the best, nicest, and funniest mods. She really is. I mean, anyone who's lucky enough to have Kiwi as a moderator for their channel, then yeah, you got a good one there. Kiwi's always been a great friend of the channel, a great friend of the whole community. And she's always there when you need a link, whatever you need a link to, she's always got you. And she's just one of those really, really, really great mods that any channel would be incredibly lucky to have. So yeah, super, super thankful for Kiwi, the mod extraordinaire. And yeah, she's awesome. Kiwi is absolutely awesome. And you guys both deserve a glitter bomb. Glitter bomb for Kiwi and for Ray. Thank you guys so much. All right, I am officially caught up on the super chats. Now let's dive into the regular chat and see what you guys are saying. We want to hear from you guys. What are you guys thinking heading into episode 5? What are some of your thoughts? What are some of your theories, your predictions? What did you guys think of episode 4? We want to hear from you. Kelly says they're spending too much time on the golem. I mean, if they're spending a lot of time on the golem, you know, you start to wonder, is it actually going to come to life? Because again, I understand I forget who said it earlier, but I saw a comment earlier saying that they hope the golem doesn't become another bile bullet thing, or it's just a red herring. And I can understand that sentiment, but yeah, I don't know. I'm still not sure which way this golem is going to go. I'm still kind of 50-50 on whether or not it's going to come to life, or whether it's not, or whether it's just going to be a source of strength for her. But yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out one way or another.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kelly. They're giving a lot of time to the golem. It has to do something. What if it doesn't? That would be hilarious to me. What about if we spend so much time on this
Another
golem
bile
and
bullet moment.
what it's supposed to be, and it just does nothing? It could be like the puppet, because they
And
also
bullets, no.
focus so much attention on the puppet and the
Yeah.
way that it was screaming at Jade. Remember, it would just show up
Yeah.
randomly and scream at Jade.
Random visions, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it made it seem like he was going to talk, right? Especially when Victor said, oh, the puppet was telling Christopher, right? The puppet was telling Christopher all of this and all of that.
Oh, God.
And then it turns out the puppet never spoke. The puppet
Yeah.
had nothing to do with that. It
Which I
actually
was-
had nothing to do with the boy in white, because that's not his puppet. That's Christopher's puppet.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And I was actually very thankful for that. I was actually glad that we didn't get talking puppets, talking dolls. Because it's just, I don't know, it's just not my thing. I'm not a big fan of Chucky. But no, I think that'll be interesting to see what happens with, this time. Yes. Will the golem come to life? Again, like you said, Kelly, like some of you have said in the chat, PM, we've gotten they devoted a decent amount of screen time to Fatima and the golem in episode 4. If you go back and look at episode 4, there's 4 different interchanging scenes that they go back to, 4 different times that they go back to Fatima building the golem in that episode. So she does get a lot of screen time, and we do get a pretty good, clear, at least answer right then and there what she's doing and why she's doing it, which I was glad for. I was glad that they didn't just drag it out in terms of not letting us know what she's building and not letting us know why she's building it. I was very happy that by the time we got to episode 4, we knew exactly what she's building and why she's building it, and the connection that she has to Smiley that is still lingering, a connection that many of us theorized would still be there based on what we saw at the end of season 3. So yeah, I think I'm at least glad that they didn't drag it out. They gave us some definitive answers as to what she's doing pretty early on. And yeah, I guess we'll see the fruits of her labor over the next few episodes, and we'll see if it ends up coming to life or not. But I love this. Absolutely love this. KSK8582 says, how would the Winchester brothers deal with this town? Yes, indeed. How would they? I mean, have Sam and Dean ever come across a monster that they couldn't take out? Have they ever come across anything that they couldn't take out? The Winchesters toppled God, for crying out loud. I know he's Chuck, but it was still God. Yeah, I don't know. I think if the Winchesters were to land in Fromville, and we used to talk about this during like during season 1 and season 2, we would often ask the chat, what would be your favorite crossover if you could have any character? And I guess we can ask you guys, we can ask it again right now. If you could have any character from television, from movie, from a book, if you could have any character in the world, in the universe, show up in Fromville, what character would you guys want to see join Fromville? Which character would you like to see show up in Fromville and be stuck there? And for me, my answer was the Winchesters, Sam and Dean Winchester. Like, if I could have any crossover, it would be Sam and frickin' Dean pulling up in their 1967 Chevy Impala and just opening up that trunk and kicking some monster ass. That would be my ideal crossover because I love Sam and Dean, love the Winchesters. But let us know, what do you guys think? If you could have any character show up here in Fromville, what character would you guys choose? What about you, PM? Any character in the world, whether it's a movie, TV, book character, any character, who would you like to see show up and fight some monsters or just show up?
Hmm. I'm looking at the chat and I saw Rick and I thought they were saying Rick James. And I thought maybe Rick James. But no, they
Hey,
said Rick Grimes. That's a totally different
Rick
person. I'm like,
Grimes.
Rick James?
Rick
Maybe.
James. I'm Rick James.
Bitch. um, he could say that to Boyd, right?
Yeah, he'll slap a monster at least.
Yeah, he'll slap all of them. No, one of my favorite people, characters, okay, that I think would be perfect for From is True Detective Season 1, the
Yes.
detective Rust Cole.
Yes.
Nihilist detective Rust Cole.
Love
I
it.
think that he would be perfect in From. One, he's already a detective that's used
He'd
to
solve
dealing
this
with
shit. Yeah.
crimes,
Yep.
especially crimes that are, of the nature of From. I mean, we're
Mhm.
talking about child sacrifice. When you look at True Detective Season 1, it's around the same sort of thing. We're
In a
talking
similar
about
vein. Yeah.
cultish um, groups that do these horrible things. So I think he has experience. Two, he could really help Boyd because he does have that background. And also, he's a nihilist. He's not going to
Yeah.
be afraid. If the monsters walk up to him and want to like kill him, or threaten to kill him, he'll be like, what is life?
I
Are we
guess it's
really
my
alive?
day.
Do we actually exist? Right? He's a nihilist. He
Yeah.
doesn't, so he would just be like, yeah, like make my day, kill me.
Yeah. I
He
guess
would
it's my
totally
turn.
be able.
Mm.
He would be able to deal with that because he has seen some things in his day, right? Also, he lost a child. He lost his daughter.
Yeah.
So if anybody can be sympathetic to the goal of saving somebody else's child, it would be him because he lost his own daughter. So I
Mm.
think that makes him like great for the job.
I like it. I like it. I mean, in terms of having a character show up there that would probably be really good at solving some of these mysteries, Russ Cole is 100% a really good pick. And yeah, he's just such a good character, Russ Cole. True Detective Season 1 is just such a good fucking show. So good.
Oh my God. I love Monk, you guys. I've seen that the chat is saying
Yeah.
Monk or
We
not
got some.
Monk. They're voting for who not to send, and that would be Monk. He literally would die. One, everybody's
You die.
dirty. The creepy, dirty little children, like Boyd calls them, the creepy kids.
Yeah.
He would totally freak out with everything. Everything is dirty. Everything is out of order. Imagine Monk living at Colony House. He
No,
literally
no.
would have a heart attack and just die. He would
Yeah.
just die. But I love
No.
him. I think he's really fun too.
Yeah, Tony Shalhoub's good. And of course, another movie that we both like, 13 Ghosts, that he was in, the remake of 13 Ghosts, which is getting a TV series. I know, I hear it's in production right now, but 13 Ghosts is being turned into a TV show, apparently. So yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that when it eventually comes around. But yeah, Winchester Brothers should make quick work. Let's be honest, right? I mean, Steven knows that, yeah, Winchester will make quick work of these monsters. Batman crossover would be interesting. The Punisher, another good one. Another one for the Winchesters would lose their mind on. Dean would certainly have a field day. Dean at the very, Sam, he's kind of a little above that, but Dean is not above making fun of someone's hair. So yeah, I think Dean would have a fun time with that. Robin Williams, hey, and why not, right? Willow Rosenberg, okay. The Witcher, Geralt of Riviera in Fromville, that would be interesting. I mean, Geralt, Geralt, he's another one that would have pretty easy time killing some of these monsters. Rick Grimes, yep, from The Walking Dead, good old Rick. Fox Mulder from X-Files, that's a good one, Mike. That's a really good one, Mike. I like that. Crossover from Supernatural, any character, yeah, Supernatural's good. The Equalizer, ooh, okay. Now, which Equalizer? The Denzel version or the original version from back in the day? Because the Denzel version, he's badass. He would tear through these peeps, but so would the original version as well. Sawyer needs to show up in From. That would be pretty interesting, seeing Sawyer from Lost. Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. The German from Baghdad Cafe, Jasmine. The Deep, oh God, the Deep from The Boys, I assume you're talking about. Oh, man. He wouldn't last long. I think the Deep would get his ass killed in here. Blade, Punisher, we got a lot of comic book characters. Love it. Mulder and Scully together. Yeah, love it. John Locke, that I would love to see. John Locke was one of my favorite characters, is still to this day one of my favorite characters. Chuck Norris from would be a season long and only Chuck in the credits. I can just picture the memes. I can picture the memes now. Chuck Norris arriving in Fromville and just the monsters just running in the other direction, running away from him because he's Chuck fucking Norris. Yeah, I love that. Walter White, Kevin Hart, Willy Wonka. We got a lot of interesting characters. Wow. A lot of interesting characters. Kiwi says The Witcher as well. Jason Bourne, Cheech and Chong. I mean, Cheech and Chong, at the very least, they'd have some fun with Jade and Fatima, if nothing else, right?
Colony House. They would totally be at Colony House, right?
They would. They would be at Colony House, yeah. We need to remove the motherfucking monsters from this motherfucking plane. Yes, please give me Samuel L. Jackson inside Fromville. Fucking please. That would be fucking gold. That would be gold. We need to get these monsters out of this fucking town. Good stuff. Yeah, Celine from the Underworld, Kate Beckinsale's character. She'd probably make quick work of the monsters as well. Goku, Andre the Giant. Really good stuff. A lot of really good characters in here. Yeah, for me, definitely the Winchesters. I mean, I love Supernatural. Supernatural was such a fun show. Love Sam and Dean. Dean a little bit more. But yeah, I think that'd be good.
I did see a lot of people in the chat were saying it would fit into From, and I believe that it would fit into From. I would like to see it take on the Man in Yellow or the entity in yellow, and they could have a shift off, like you know how they shift what they are into different things. They could do a shift battle and see what they could shift into different humans. Spider, right? We know that it does a spider, and we are in need of a spider and From, so he would come in very handy.
Yeah, very true. I love this one. I absolutely love this one as well. Klaus Michelson. Hell yeah, let's get Klaus Michelson in Fromville. And I would love to see Klaus and Elijah, both of them, both of the original brothers. Klaus and Elijah are two characters from the originals, a vampire show that was on a few years ago, a spin-off from the Vampire Diaries. And yeah, Klaus was just badass. Klaus was badass personified. You know, I feel like you could drop Klaus in any setting, in any story, and he'd fucking survive. Because he's just that adaptable. Yeah, Klaus would be a good one. Klaus would be a really good one. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, Sam Jackson was the voice of Hammerhead Shark in the last boy. Yeah, I'm not caught up on The Boys. I need to catch up on The Boys. I'm like 2 episodes behind on The Boys. So I'm going to have to catch up on that. But yeah, back to what you were saying. Yeah, I would love to see the Man in Yellow go at it with like another entity. The Man in Yellow versus Pennywise. That would be pretty interesting. Again, we still don't know the full extent of the Man in Yellow's abilities and where he comes from, how powerful he really is. Because Pennywise is very powerful. The Man in Yellow would have a very tough time taking down Pennywise, I think. Unless by some miracle Pennywise is afraid of old guys in yellow suits. Then maybe he would have him beat.
You know what, though? You brought this movie up, which is one of my favorite movies, 13 Ghosts. If we're talking monsters, I want 13 Ghosts versus the monsters and From. They think they're scary. Like, no, 13 Ghosts, every single one of them was terrifying. Yeah. Absolutely terrifying. But yeah, I was wondering this. Because we're talking about the scarecrows, we're talking about the golem, but the obvious connection, you guys, the scarecrows are made to scare crows away.
Yes.
Why? What does that mean? Because last time on the previous episode, a lot of us came to the conclusion that the crows potentially are good. They are on the side of the humans, they are on the side of the people, and potentially they could even be the souls of the dead people, the people who pass away in from. I thought one of them was little Jim. That little crow was Jim because he stood
Mhm.
on his grave. He got there right on time and he stood on his grave, almost saying, like, I'm here, right? I haven't left. So the scarecrows are scaring away the crows. If the crows are good, then what does that mean for the village? What are they
Mm,
scaring them from?
yeah. Yeah, that's all what I've been wondering as well. Where do these scarecrow creatures come from? Who created them and why? And the only one thing that one thing that we at least discussed last week was the possibility of these scarecrows being built or created by a previous cycle, some other kind of previous cycle. Maybe they were built to protect this settlement, to protect the ruined settlement, and maybe somehow they grew beyond the control of their creators, and maybe they ended up being the ones who destroyed the settlement, because that's one thing we still need to find out. This ruined settlement, at some point, it was destroyed. Like, we call it the ruined settlement for a reason. It's in ruins. Like, these huts are all smashed up. Like, this, it looks like this was once a pretty nice settlement that was completely destroyed, leaving only what, 2 or 3 huts still intact, while the rest of it is all just in ruins. So I wouldn't be surprised if these things were responsible for the original destruction of the ruined settlement, and maybe that's why they were sunk to the bottom of the lake, because they destroyed the settlement. They had to somehow kind of, someone somehow had to kind of overpower them in some way to get them to the bottom of that lake. And I think that's a very interesting question. Who put them in the bottom of the lake? But no, if I just looking at the very limited information that we have, because we really just don't have enough information yet to really know anything definitive. The only thing we know definitively is that Tabitha seemed to have dreams of these things when she was a child. It seemed like this might be the thing that scared Tabitha, young Tabitha, when she was hiding behind that rock. But no, I could totally see it being something like that, where maybe these scarecrows were created to protect their settlement. Maybe they grew beyond control of their creators, end up ruining the settlement, so they had to put them down and sink them to the bottom of the lake. And now, all these years later, here we have NPC fucking Roger just bringing them back to the fucking surface. Start the cycle all over again. But I don't know. I think, again, it's really just theories at this point. We really don't have any definitive information as to what these scarecrows are, who built them, where they came from, and what purpose they serve. What was their function? But I hope we learn a little bit more in this episode.
Yeah, there's a couple of comments that you guys made that I thought were really, really interesting and I wanted to
Mm,
talk about today. One
yes.
of the comments that was really interesting was the bear trap. We know that Christy got stuck in a trap, a bear trap, right? And that was when they went into the settlement to collect food. It was snowing back then, so she couldn't see the bear trap, but it was there. We haven't seen bears, right? So somebody said in the comments, maybe
I
the bear
saw
traps
that.
that were put all around were there to protect them against the scarecrows. Because if you're trying to maybe get away from the scarecrows, a bear trap that could hold them back while you run would be very beneficial. So I thought that was really interesting. Maybe that's what the bear trap was for. Somebody already had a run in. So if it was you who made that comment, put it in the chat. But that's a comment that you could see on Jeremy's last video. The other thing that you guys brought up that I thought was really, really good was the scarecrows are coming out now. The people have been going over there to collect on food, but they never had a run in with them. Why now? And a lot of us were asking, there has to be repercussions to Jade tearing apart the totems. There has to be, right? You just don't go up to the totems and tear them apart expecting nothing to happen. Therefore, could it potentially be that the scarecrows are the repercussions of breaking those totems? the totems were right at the front of the village. So if the scarecrows are at the lake, they would protect you against them. Maybe that's why, they didn't come to life. They didn't attack anybody because the totems were the last people's version of the golem.
Of like
The golem
golems
is
or
a
talismans.
protector. Hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
So I thought those two ideas, you guys, were amazing.
I mean, a lot of us were wondering that there had to be some kind of consequence, right? To Jade just yanking that totem, like, whoever built it won't mind. I'm not so sure about that, Jade. I'm not so sure whoever built that just won't mind that you just yank this freaking totem. So a lot of us were wondering that there has to be some kind of consequence, right? That has to lead to something. There's no way that they showed us this scene of Jade yanking one of these totems, or at least yanking the brace that holds one of the totems up. And we see it knock over, we see it fall down. I feel like that has to lead to something. So no, I like that idea. I like the idea that maybe Jade knocking down the totems are ultimately is what going to lead to them kind of smashing up the settlements. And we talked a little bit about that before we saw any of this lake stuff, seeing that they came from the bottom of the lake. That was one of the things I originally thought happened. Why are these things showing up now? We haven't seen these things ever. Why are they showing up now of all times? And the only thing I could think of, the only thing that has changed was the totem, was Jade moving one of those totems. So yeah, I guess, could this move come back to bite them in the ass?
This is a really bad idea.
There's nothing else strong enough to pry that trap open.
You really want to start pulling apart the ancient tower of holy scary shit?
I'm sure whoever built it won't mind.
Oh, Jesus. Fuck.
I miss Dale.
I know, right? I do.
Yeah, he was fun. But yeah, Jade doesn't believe in the superstitious sort of thing because he's a man of science. But being a man of science, when you're in From, I agree with a lot of you in the chat. He should have known better. Even if you don't believe about the superstitious totems, leave them alone, right? You don't want to mess with that. Even if you don't believe it, you could use everything that's on your side. I mean, he's a man of science, but he still sleeps in a place with a talisman. So he believes that much. How come he didn't think twice before destroying the totems? Now, we've talked about where the scarecrows come from, who pulled out the scarecrows, and what they could do. But my question, Jeremy and Chad, is how do they get away? So we know they're going to attack them, but how do you get away from them? What's going to happen? Like, if they're on a rampage attacking you, they don't seem like they are entities that you could just shoot and will die. How do you get away from them? Are they just going to keep chasing you all through the town? How do you defeat them?
Yeah.
How do you think that will go about?
I mean, we know nothing about these things, right? Like, we have no idea if they're going to have any kind of weaknesses. Are they going to be similar to the other monsters where these things maybe only come alive at night? Because we see them pull them out of the lake, and we see them during the day, and they're just laying on the ground. And then we see every scene that we see of these things moving around is a nighttime scene. So I start to wonder that. Are these scarecrows bound by similar rules of the monsters where maybe they can only become animated at night? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, no, I think, again, even though we know they're coming, it's still going to be very interesting to see the aftermath of it. As you mentioned, yes, we'll see one of them smash into the cabin, but what's going to happen after that? Where are they going to go? How are they going to survive? How are they going to fight this new enemy that has just been thrown at them on top of the monsters and on top of Sophia wreaking havoc as the man in yellow in town, along with whatever else is going to be coming around the corner in the second half of the season, like this weird colonial woman monster that we've been hearing a lot about through the casting call. So yeah, no, I think, again, even though we know the scarecrows are coming, I'm still very much looking forward to seeing the rest of it. I get the feeling they're all just going to scatter and hide somewhere. That's my guess. I think they'll all probably just scatter, try and hide it out until morning. And it seems like we have a shot here of what looks to be Tabitha and Ethan, maybe doing that, maybe hiding. But they also seem to be staring at something very, intently, almost like they're both looking at the exact same thing. People have noticed the weird kind of greenish hue, almost like the green hue light kind of coming from something, which could just be the camera, could just be the shot itself. But yeah, I don't know. I think this little shot here very, very much intrigues me in terms of what's going on after the attack, because I would have assumed that they're all just going to run and hide. But here we have this shot of Tabitha and Ethan staring at something that seems to be mesmerizing them, or staring at something in disbelief, I guess you could say. So yeah, I can't wait. My initial theory is they're just going to run and hide, but I don't know. I see this scene and I think, fuck, I want to see what's going on here. But yeah, what do you guys think? How are they going to survive this? How are they going to combat this? After this demonic Kool-Aid man bursts into the cabin, what happens next?
Yeah, I mean, I would think, I can't remember if the light that they have is light that they created because they have a little fire, or if it's a flashlight. But if they had a fire, set one of them on fire, right?
There
Like
you go.
they're made out of material that is very flammable, very flammable. So just set them on fire. However, if you're hiding out, you still have to worry about the monsters. Now you're worried about the scarecrows. Are they just going to go round and round looking for you all night? We know that we have a picture of something being burned. Could it potentially be that maybe they do make it through the night, and during the morning hours, the scarecrows are on the ground as we see them, and they take them in to
Back to
be
town.
burnt? Yeah,
Yeah.
we know that Donna is there, and the burned pile, that's at Colony House. So could it potentially be that she brings them back to her place and burns them?
Totally. I 100% think that could be the case. Because we do know from the synopsis, at least, that I believe the episode 6 synopsis reads something like a devastating discovery makes its way back to the town. So yeah, either word is going to make its way back to town, or yeah, maybe they're going to bring one of these things back to town with them. And yeah, maybe that could be the whole, maybe they only come animated at night. Maybe that's a possibility. These things can only become active and harmful at night, and during the day they're just inanimate scarecrows. If that is the case, yeah, I could totally see one of them, Ellis or someone, dragging it back to the town to show everyone, like, hey, we got a fucking another problem on our hands, ladies and gents. This Martin character was right about the monsters only being the tip of the fucking spear. There's worse nightmares out here indeed. So yeah, no, I like that idea. I like the idea of one of them bringing one back to Colony House, and after showing everybody, then yeah, burn that fucking thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we know that the boss, right? They always kind of take a leader when they're going in for
Yep.
food, that it's Donna. Colony House is her domain. So if she's going to bring them back, she's probably going to bring them back to her house and then have Boyd come in and look at them so that she could show him what's going on, and then probably burn them. I think
Yep.
that it's all coming together to make sense, which, once again, did they give us too much? Maybe they did. Maybe they did give us too much. But
Maybe.
like the chat is saying, we're still waiting for the colonial woman. Maybe this is the episode that we get the colonial woman to show up for some reason. And
Mhm.
is the colonial woman Tabitha? Jade has a lot of past versions of himself, right? We have seen a lot of
Yeah.
past Jades. We have not seen a lot of past Tabithas. We have only seen Tabitha's reincarnation being Victor's mother, Miranda, right? But we haven't seen different versions of Tabitha. Is the colonial woman one of Tabitha's past lives?
Mhm. Maybe. Maybe. I suppose it's possible. I definitely suppose. I mean, the character was described as undead, an undead colonial woman in her 60s or later. I believe they were trying to cast an actress in their 60s or older to play the role. So yeah, I think that's possible. It could be some other kind of version of Tabitha, a previous incarnation. Maybe that's possible. That's definitely possible. And yes, for anyone who was asking, when does the episode come out? The episode comes out in less than 1 hour. We are less than 1 hour away from episode 5 hitting our screens. It is 11:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that means we are officially 57 minutes. 57 minutes, ladies and gents, until episode 5 hits our screens. And yeah, when it comes to Martin, I certainly hope that the writers didn't forget about Martin at the very least. Martin has been such an interesting character for the fact that we just still know nothing about him. We know nothing about Martin, who he is, where he comes from, how long he's been there, who put him there in that dungeon. I get the feeling the Man in Yellow put Martin there in that dungeon, and I'm starting to wonder if the Man in Yellow put him in there because maybe Martin was a story walker as well, and maybe somehow story walkers are a threat to the Man in Yellow, or at least to him continuing these cycles. But yeah, whatever is going on with Martin, I really hope we get a definitive answer. Some people think that Martin was the Man in Yellow, that was the Man in Yellow pretending to be Martin the whole time, and that's also another possibility. But whatever the case is, I really hope we get some more Martin at some point and we find out exactly who he is, where he came from, how long he's been there, and the truth of it. He told us that he went through a tree. He told us that he came from the town. Yeah, maybe he was simply just a resident of a previous cycle. Some people think he was the previous Boyd, which could be possible. They both had the worms. They both got stuck there after going through the tree. They followed very similar storylines. So I could see that potentially being the case as well. But whatever it ends up being, I really hope we see Martin again. But never mind. We got it. I'm Martin. There I go. Second later, ask and you shall receive. Martin spotted. But yeah, I'm hoping that we see him. I'm hoping that we see Martin again. And yes, for those of you that were also saying in the chat, it looks like the talismans don't work for the scarecrows. It looks like the talismans don't work for anything other than the monsters. That seems to be the case. I mean, we saw in season 2, these cicadas that they were all dealing with, this entity that they were dealing with in season 2, the talisman certainly didn't stop it. We saw in season 2 and in season 3 that the kimono creature was able to come and go as she pleased. The talismans didn't stop the kimono creature either. It seems like the talismans only work on the monsters, at least so far from what we've seen anyway. The talismans seem to only work on the regular monsters, and everything else is just a regular rock for. So yeah, definitely, I was not expecting the talismans to work for the scarecrows or anything else other than the monsters. But the episode comes out in 54 minutes. We are 54 minutes away from episode 5. It releases at midnight, just after midnight Eastern Standard Time. And for those of you that are a member of MGM Plus and you live in the States, you'll have access to the episode right on your MGM Plus device. But if you're not and you don't have access to it right away, we will also be running a watch party in our Discord for anyone who wants to jump in there and watch it in there. Our good pal, our other co-host, Lord Ravener, is going to be setting that up, and he'll be hosting a watch party for the newest episode in the Discord. And the link to it is right there pinned in the chat. If you guys are looking for the link to get to the watch party, it is the pinned link in the chat. That will take you right there when it is time. But yeah, John Wick. Yes, I'd love to see John Wick show up in Fromville. He's another one that would give monsters some freaking hell. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see. I think Martin is a different version of Jade. That's also a possibility as well. I mean, there's so many good theories surrounding Martin and who he is, where he came from, how long he's been there, who put him there. And all of the theories are good because we just know nothing about Martin. I feel like there's no really one super popular definitive theory when it comes to Martin. There's just a bunch of different theories because there's just so much we don't know. There's not enough to go on to have a really definitive idea as to who Martin is. Was he the Man in Yellow the whole time? Was he locked up by the Man in Yellow? Is Martin a story walker and story walkers are maybe threats to the Man in Yellow like Julie is? I don't know. But I really hohope we learn. I really hope we see some more Martin. And I hope he's not the Man in Yellow. I could see that being the case, where, the Man in Yellow was pretending to be Martin. I could see that. I see why that's a popular theory, but I hope that's not the case.
I just don't get a good vibe from Martin. I don't
No,
know, call me
yeah.
crazy. Maybe
No,
it's
you're
because
right.
he
You're right.
gave Boyd worms, and usually whoever gives you
You're right.
worms, you know,
You're
you don't
right.
get a good vibe from, right?
No, not at
Whoever
all.
infects you with some sort of like ancient
I mean,
worm.
and even before he gives Boyd the worms, like as like you have that moment where like Martin's acting super friendly with Boyd. He's like, "Oh, you have a kind face," and like he's being super friendly with him. Then out of nowhere, 2 seconds before the music starts, we see Martin turn. It's almost like he becomes a completely different person. He turns and looks at Boyd and says, "What if Abby was right? What if this is all just a dream?" And it's like, what the fuck? You know, and from that point on, yeah, Martin was fucking sus. And then, yeah, giving him the fucking worms on top of it, yeah, you got to go. Martin might be on
Yeah.
Roger's list. But no, I want to learn
I
who
don't
he
get a
is.
good vibe.
No, I don't get a
I
good vibe.
don't like learning who he is. I don't think that he is a story walker because that would be I would tend to believe that's a positive character. So
Yeah,
if he
yeah,
is
maybe.
this
Mhm.
evil entity that I'm not getting a good vibe from, I do
Okay.
tend to believe maybe things are more simple than we make them out to be,
They
which
tend to be. They tend
oftentimes
to
things
be.
are
Yeah,
simpler than we
absolutely.
make them out to be. So it
Absolutely.
could have just been the man in yellow.
It could
It
have,
could
yeah.
have just been him
Pushing
pretending.
characters in the right direction, getting Boyd the worms because that was part of the story, getting Julie where she needed to go because that was also part of the story. Yeah, I could totally see it that being a reveal where it was just the man in yellow in disguise. I mean, I hope it's not, but it's definitely very plausible for sure. For
Oh,
sure.
I saw this theory. Yes, Kelly. So there's a theory going around that is really, really interesting, and it's about the ballerina and Martin and the man in yellow. When the man in yellow, when Martin, sorry, is interacting with Boyd in the dungeon, he is saying, "Hey, you need to do this before the music stops. You need to get away. They're coming," right? And so he's making it seem like, I don't want to hurt you. I'm trying to help you. But he keeps looking at the ballerina box and saying, "You need to do this before they come." We assume that what was coming was a negative thing. Could it have been help for Boyd? And he's
Maybe.
like trying to pressure him.
Was the ballerina about to come? Maybe. Okay. I like you guys' thinking.
Yeah, and he was trying to pressure him, like, do this, like, get closer to me, right? So I could give you the worms before they come. It inspires you to believe that they are negative, that you have to run away, right? But
Yeah.
Martin was not a good guy. I just don't think he was a good guy. So
Yeah.
the box was a problem to him. That
Yeah.
would mean that if he
Yeah.
is the man in yellow, when he saw the little ballerina figurine, he acted like a little bit afraid because
Maybe
he
scared
does
of him.
have, yeah, just like you and Roger, he has beef with the ballerina for some reason.
He's
The
got some
man in
beef.
yellow has some beef with
Some
that
beef.
ballerina.
I mean, it did look that way, right? I mean, when Sophia
Hmm.
sees that ballerina figure in the storage room, you got that feeling, right? Like there's some kind of history there. There's some kind of connection there. When she saw that ballerina, it's like she knew exactly what she was looking at and what it represented. So yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a very interesting possibility that the ballerina was actually a force for good. And we have often theorized that the ballerina was potentially trying to show Boyd how to get rid of the worms. Like if you look at the ballerina's movements, if you go back to those episodes, season 2, episode 6 in particular, the episode where Boyd does kill Smiley. If you go back and study all of the scenes that the ballerina shows up in, at one point you'll see the ballerina grab Boyd, throw him on the bed, show Boyd her arm, and then put her arm right on Boyd's mouth. It almost seemed like she was trying to show Boyd how to transfer these worms to Smiley. But no, I like the idea that the ballerina maybe wasn't an evil entity. That maybe it was, something else. Ballerina versus Man in Yellow style. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Who
Yeah,
knows?
and I told you this before, but I think if we go and follow that line of thinking, what if the ballerina is a past version of Boyd? We know that Boyd has a very particular role, just like everybody in From. When you arrive to From, you kind of tend to take over a role. Like, look at the way that Bacta took over Tien Chang's role, right? Of providing, making food, and caring for people in that manner. You kind of take over a certain role. So was this ballerina character a human, a past human from another cycle that was going, I don't know, to the ballet? They're a professional dancer and they get stuck in from, but they're also a leader. So they had Boyd's role in the town where their leadership kind of made them perfect for the worms and everything that is happening to them. Could the ballerina be a past version of Boyd? I love it because Boyd
That's
is
right.
so tough. He's a
Yeah.
tough guy. I love my Boyd. He's a very tough guy. So the ballerina being so soft, but at the same time having that same leadership role, I like
Mhm.
the contrast that Boyd in the past was the ballerina.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I remember you showed me that clip not too long ago of Harold Perrineau of Boyd saying a lot of people don't know this about me, but I
Oh,
used to
yes.
be a ballerina, and he's
Mhm.
dancing ballet. And I remember when you showed me that and told me your theory, I thought, ooh, this is a good one. Because yeah, I mean, it could be possible because that's another question that a lot of us have had, right? Like, are there other reincarnated characters? Is it just Jade and Tabitha that are reincarnated, or does every cycle reincarnate characters and bring them back, or is it just bringing in similar archetypes of characters? I guess that's the question. But yeah, no, if Boyd is a reincarnation of something else, could the ballerina have been one of his previous forms? I feel it would at least fit thematically. When we look at the theme of the show, a lot of the visions that our characters have been having, at least Jade and Tabitha, they're all visions of their former selves. When Jade sees Christopher, when Jade sees the guy crushed by the boulder, when Jade sees the Civil War soldier, when Jade sees the guy with the human skull, those are all previous versions of Jade. Those are all his previous incarnations, just like Tabitha seeing Miranda. And just like we heard from Henry, Miranda was seeing all of her previous incarnations. So I feel like at least thematically it would fit, if nothing else. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's a big question the show needs to answer. Is it just Boyd and is it just Tabitha and Jade that get reincarnated, or are there other characters that get reincarnated every cycle as well?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Xavier says it's at least 4 different factions in Fromville: Man in Yellow, Crows, Ballerina, regular monsters. Ooh, honorable mention, Kimono Monster, Golem, Demonic Kool-Aid Men monsters as well. I mean, that is one thing that I would like to see at some point, seeing some of these monsters interact with each other. Is there some kind of hierarchy amongst the monsters? Is there some kind of chain of command? Is there some kind of organization? Or is it all just different monsters, different entities out there having different goals? I guess is the question. Because one thing we did see in season 2, in the Bile Bullets episode, actually, we see the monsters walking up to the RV, and then all of a sudden they stop. They stop dead in their tracks, which surprises Donna. Donna even says they never stop like that. And then 2 seconds later, we hear the radio come on, and the entity shows up in the form of Boyd's wife, messing with Boyd. And a lot of people were wondering, okay, did the monsters sense that this entity was about to show up, and that's why they stopped? The monsters never stopped. I mean, they had them cornered. Why stop? You could have easily killed all of them, but they stopped. So I guess that is an interesting, at least it's always been an interesting question for me as to, is there some kind of hierarchy amongst the monsters? Do they all get along? Are they naturally enemies? Like, how exactly would this scarecrow creature interact if it came across Smiley, for instance? Like, what would happen? That's one thing I would like to see.
Did they all get along? You want to know the inner social workings
I
of
want to know
the
the hierarchy.
entities?
Yes, I
Who's
want to know
friends
the
with who? Who's
yes.
who of the
I want to know
monsters?
who's swimming in what social circle amongst the monsters. Yes, I want to know.
Right.
Do the monsters invite the scarecrows over to their caves for some tea parties? And like, what is that? Why they have the tea set down there? What's
We
going
know
on?
that they're cool with the puppet. At least we know that much.
We
We
know
know
they let
that
the
the
puppy hang
monsters
out.
and the puppet hang
They
out.
let the
They're
puppet hang
cool with
out.
him, but
Very
we
true.
don't know how they feel about the other things. One of the things that I was thinking, are we going to see in this episode what Sarah said come back? Because we did get a flash of Sarah and the voices are back.
Yeah.
One of Sarah's theories with her brother, which they told us that we needed to watch, first of all, it's all jumbled up. Let me go back.
Mm-hmm.
Before the season started, they said we needed to watch certain episodes. Remember? They never do this. The From people, the creators of From said, go to these specific episodes and watch them.
Yeah.
They're important, right?
Yeah.
One of those episodes is where Sarah gives her theory and her brother that says, my brother,
Years.
you know, we think that the forest goes ahead and emphasizes like your nightmare, whatever it
Manifest
was
your
that
fears. Yeah.
they manifest your fear. My brother, when he was a child, was afraid of cicadas. And she tells us the story, and all of a sudden there's those cicadas, right? So then, and as a matter of fact, the cicadas were because of the brother, right? So could the scarecrows be
I
because
don't know.
somebody else? When somebody was a child, did they grow up in a farm and were terrified of
Afraid of
scarecrows?
scarecrows, maybe.
And the scarecrows are out there because they're afraid of them?
I mean, I suppose it is possible. I thought, when Sarah brought that up, I thought it was a very interesting bit of dialogue. I feel like, okay, the writers aren't throwing this in there for any old reason. This seems this is our character actively theorizing on what is going on in Fromville. So I didn't think it was just some kind of throwaway line. But yeah, no, it does make you, it does at least make you ask, right? Was Sarah right? Was Nathan right? Can their fears actually get manifested in this place and used against them? Is that where the cicadas came from? Is that where the scarecrows come from? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's possible, but I'm not sure. Seeing that the cicadas kind of seem to come from Smiley's body, I always assume that they came from the worms, that that the worms evolved into the cicadas. I mean, why have the cicadas come from Smiley's body? Out of all the places they could have showed up, why emerge from Smiley's body, the body that Boyd just gave the worms to? So I always thought the cicadas came from the worms, but no, I mean, I like the idea of your fears being used against you, because that has very much been a theme of the show from the very beginning. These monsters don't just want to kill you; they want you afraid. They play with their food, as the creators have stated in the past. They don't just want you dead. They want to torture you. They want to make it last. So yeah, fear has been a huge part of the show up until this point. The monsters using their fear against them. And what better way to use somebody's fear against them than to be able to manifest their individual specific fears that they're afraid of? So I always thought it was an interesting theory that Sarah and Nathan brought up there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Could that explain where most of these nightmares have come from? I mean, we know where the regular monsters came from, but where did all this other stuff come from? So yeah,
Well,
could be.
what's really interesting to me is that Sarah's very specific. She says when her brother was a child, he
Yeah.
was afraid of these things.
Yeah.
I believe that From is, made by the children. The children are the architects of From. They created the place. It is them who keeps these people, kidnapped, for lack of a better word. It is the children who are manifesting also these fears. When you look at a lot of things, they seem to be childlike, like a puppet, cicadas being afraid of, insects. These scarecrows look like a childlike imagination sort of monster, right? So to me, could it potentially be that it's the children, the Nkui children, scaring the people by what their inner child was afraid of, Like when you were a child, you were afraid of this. I'm a child, I'm trying to scare you. And I'm trying to scare you into focusing on what I want you to do. You want to leave me. I don't want you to leave me. So what am I going to do if I'm a child? I'm going to scare you into staying with me, right? Because they keep pushing. That's another thing that was said. They keep pushing to leave. They keep pushing for answers. And that's when bad things happen. If they don't push, they are provided with food. They are provided with different things that they need, as long as they are happy to be there, to continue on the journey of saving the children. So it seems to me like very childlike monsters, like a scarecrow that looks like a monster. I think The children are saying, you keep trying to leave us. We're not going to let you go. So we're going to scare you. What would scare me? I'm a child. Okay, it's going to be this sort of monster. So let's put out those monsters to make the people afraid so they could focus. They've been told you only have one goal, save the children. Why are you focusing on 100 billion other things? They didn't say save Jim. They said save the kids. So I could see the children saying, you're not focusing. Right now you're thinking about saving Jim. We're not interested. We need to be saved ourselves, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Could be possible. The whole children's role in all of this has always been very interesting. I know you and I talked about this last week, but out of all the run-ins that Tabitha has had with these children, not once did she ever just ask them, how do I save you? What happened to you? Where are you? How do I save you? What do you want from me? Not once has she ever just asked that. And I get it. It's a show. It's a story. It's not like she kind of just can ask that and they can just give her the answer and then boom, the show's over. That will never happen. But her not even attempting to ask, I thought was always just like, why not at least try and ask? Yes, you'll probably get some kind of cryptic answer like we get from the boy in white all the time, but at least try. I don't know. I think it's going to be very interesting when they fully reveal the origins of Fromville, where this plane of existence actually came from. Did the children create it? Was it here the whole time? And the children are trying to create a way out. I believe someone said that in the chat earlier. I think it was Golden Child had an interesting theory that maybe the Fromville was here the whole time and the children just tried to create a way to get out. That's interesting. I don't know. I like the idea of the children maybe potentially creating it ever since we got that line of Christopher and the boy in white, where the boy in white says it all started with the children. All of it started with the children. Now, does that mean just this story started with the children? Or does that mean Fromville itself started with the children? I guess that's the question. One that I would love to get an answer to. But yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what role the children ultimately play in this. Are they the one pulling people in? Are they the one kind of giving things to the people and then taking them away if they're not following what the children decide is the right path? Who knows? But it's definitely a very interesting theory. And it fits on a few different levels, more than a few. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm hoping that this is going to be the episode where we get some kind of definitive answers on the original sacrifice, on the children. Again, we do know that Jade is going to be going down into the caves. We do know that he is going to be having some kind of run-in with the monsters. Based on the trailer for episode 5, it looks like they're going to be shoving him in some kind of weird tomb, it looks like. And it seems like the remains of the children might even still be in that tomb if the trailer was any indication. That one shot of that little child's hand behind Jade. So yeah, again, I really hope that this is going to be the episode, that one really kick-ass episode that every season has towards the beginning that really kind of sets the tone and is a catalyst for the rest of the season in terms of how the rest of the season is going to go. We were thinking episode 4 was going to be that episode, but now it's looking at episode 5 is going to be that episode. And I'll play the trailer. For anyone who maybe has not seen the episode 5 trailer, I will pull it up right now and we will take a look at it and play it. And we want to hear from you guys because we have it's getting time. It is almost time now, ladies and gents. I did not realize it is almost 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which means from season 4, episode 5 is less than 30 minutes away, guys. Less than 30 minutes away. But in the meantime, let's take a look at the episode 5 trailer and see what we can see. And we want to hear from you guys. What are some of your thoughts? What are some of your theories? What are your final predictions heading into episode 5?
Show me what I used to know. Show me what's in here that'll help us leave.
Is there something in that lake we need to be afraid of? I think I've seen them before. There's something old here, and it's feeding off our suffering, and it doesn't stop.
The answers you sought come wrapped in painful truths.
How does this help? How do I stop it from happening this time?
How does this help? How do I stop it from happening this time? I mean, it seems like there's another massacre coming, that there is going to be another massacre coming on the way. And maybe that's what Jade is referring to here when he's asking his younger self, how do I stop it this time? How do I prevent it from happening this time? Because a lot of us have theorized, I know a lot of you have shared this theory, that every cycle ends in a massacre. Every time a cycle is getting ready to end, the man in yellow infiltrates, pretends to be human, stirs up a bunch of chaos that ultimately leads to a giant massacre with him snacking on the corpse the next morning. So with Jade saying, how do I stop it this time? That tells me that maybe we were right. Maybe every cycle does end on a massacre. And maybe this younger version of Jade is telling Jade that that massacre is coming, which would fit with what the boy in white told Tabitha in episode 2 as well. Episode 3, when the boy in white told Tabitha that you're getting very close, but you're running out of time, meaning the massacre is coming. I get the feeling the man in yellow entering the town pretending to be human, that's like the signal of the beginning of the end. That probably signifies that the massacre is close. The massacre is coming. The man in yellow has arrived. The end is near, type thing. So yeah, I think this is going to be very interesting. Again, it looks like we might actually get some interesting answers in this episode. Jade's going to be seeing this younger version of himself. I cannot wait to see how that goes. What information is he going to learn? Does he hear something from his younger self that prompts him to go down into the caves in the first place? And when he does go down into the caves, what is he going to learn? What is he going to see? I mean, it looked pretty gnarly. It looked like they were shoving him inside the tomb that maybe the Onkui children are buried in. So this is going to be a freaking good episode, I think. I'm super pumped for this episode.
Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. Now, when I saw that that child said, hey, the answers that you're looking for come wrapped in painful truths.
Painful truths, yes.
I immediately thought, you know what? There has to be more to the story as to how the children were made to be in a cage to the point where they're pulling out their hair or their hair is falling out and they look the way that they do. Okay, there has to be more to the story than I attempted to save them. Because even if you attempted to save them, let's say that the whole town wanted your daughter to be sacrificed. It's either my daughter being sacrificed to a deity that I don't want to happen, or me dying by trying to run away with my wife and child. Either way, it's better to at least try to run away. But it seems like they strategize in a way where they let them keep their child.
They were in on it
the cave.
in the beginning. I wouldn't be surprised if they were in on it in the beginning. And maybe that's like the sin that they're going to end up learning.
I mean, when they talk about painful truths, something that is painful would have to be facing yourself, facing the fact that you are not as innocent as you believe yourself to be. You are not as good as you believe yourself to be. That would be a painful truth. You being the best and saving them and immediately being, staunchly against sacrifice, that's not a painful truth. That is a good thing about yourself. So if he's saying that, then that means Jade and Tabitha had more to do with the sacrifice, right? Now, when the monsters grab Jade and they're putting him in there, it makes me think they're doing that because they're saying, no, we don't want to hurt you. We want to show you that you are just like us. We want you to really remember, because you are judging us, that you are just like us. And I think that they probably killed Jade and Tabitha when they tried to destroy the sacrifice. I mean, you're not going to let them get away. You're not going to let them get away when they're messing up your plan, and then they turned you into monsters that can never die and are only allowed to roam at night. You're going to kill them. So they probably put them in that grave, and they're showing him, 1, you're not as good as you believe yourself to be. 2, you deserve punishment too, and this is how it all went down. Now, in the chat, you guys said something that's beautiful. Those are good questions, Jade. And yes, I feel like this little boy apparition was like, finally, Jade, like you're asking the right questions. Because when we get the boy in white apparition to Tabitha, he's like, those are not the questions you should be asking. Like, Tabitha, why are you asking that, right? But Jade, he has good questions. When Jade sees the opportunity to ask somebody for some knowledge, he asks, a question that would lead them somewhere. Part of me believes Tabitha is not looking for answers. That's why she is not asking the right question. Maybe deep inside, like she said when she was in Maine, if you recall, when she was with Victor's dad in the car, she said, oh, maybe we're being punished. Why is it that she automatically believes that she should be punished? Does she feel guilty inside? Is she not looking for answers because inside she knows we did something bad, so I don't really want to face that? Not just yet. I think that this episode, hopefully, they show us what Tabitha and Jade did. And I'm hoping that it's not super bad, but the story is just not adding up. Them taking your daughter getting to the point where she looks so, you know, broken
Mhm.
down, and you trying to save them at the last minute, it's not adding up. Why
Well,
at the
that
last
was my
minute?
take too. It's like if your daughter was literally one of the seven, your daughter was one of the ones that got sacrificed. At some point, that tells me at some point the original Jade and the original Tabitha were probably in on it. And I think they changed their mind right at the last minute and tried to save the children and ultimately failed. But yeah, again, wrapped in painful truths. It just, we've a lot of us have long had a feeling that there's more to this sacrifice, right? There's a little bit more going on there that meets the eye. Are Jade and Tabitha 100% squeaky clean in all of this? Or are we going to find out that they have a skeleton or two in their closet as well? Yeah, I think so. I think 100% that's going to be the case. If this younger version is warning him, hey, the truths that you seek, the answers you seek come wrapped in painful truths. That very much fits the whole synopsis of season 4, when John Griffin straight up told us that that answers are going to be revealed this season, but some of the answers that get revealed, some of our characters are going to wish had stayed hidden. And I think this could very well qualify for that. One of these answers coming out. Jade thinks he wants the answers. He thinks he wants to know. But once he does know, once he does find out, yeah, I think we're going to find out that him and Tabitha's hands aren't exactly as innocent as we originally thought. Yes, they might have
Yeah.
tried to save the children in the end, but I do think they were ultimately in on it in the beginning and they had a change of heart.
And when you think about the synopsis, right? They're gonna wish the had stayed hidden some of these truths that are
Yeah.
gonna come out. That's
It's gonna be
something that you probably, if you are Jade or Tabitha and you had more to do with this and you are closer to the monsters than you are to the humans in
Yeah.
what you have done to these children, you probably don't want that getting out because everybody is going to be pissed off that it's basically your fault that they're in here, that you're the one that sacrificed these children that I believe are now holding them hostage until they right their wrong, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to Tabitha, I'm telling you, she has this association like Victor. They tend
Yeah.
to do the same thing of like,
No,
I'm
no,
not
no,
gonna
no,
talk
no.
about it.
No, 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 no,
And
no.
Victor says his version of it is, I don't want to talk about that. Her version is no, 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 no. But they both do the same of whenever I don't want to talk about something is because I assume that I have fault in it. What he didn't want to talk about or face was his sister potentially being dead, right? They tell us that she's dead. Why? Because he feels guilty that mom said, you guys stay here, take care of
Yeah.
each other. He didn't
Mhm.
take care of his sister. He let her go. He could have held her down. He didn't.
Yeah.
Grabbed her by the hand, he let her go, right?
Okay.
He was just a child, but he perceived that as being his fault. That's
Yeah.
why he told his dad, you don't have to be my dad
You don't have to
anymore.
be my
Because
dad
he felt so
anymore.
guilty. So it makes me think Tabitha probably does the same thing, where she rejects all information. She rejects the possibility of talking to Boy and
She
White and
doesn't want the
asking a
guilt that
question.
comes with it. Yeah.
Because she knows, like, oh, I don't want to walk through that
Yeah.
again. I know I
Yeah.
did something wrong.
Yeah.
But
Is there some part like deep locked away in her subconscious that knows deep down somewhere that they wronged these children too?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you have to, because I'm telling you, it's not adding up. The
It's
children were
not
born in the dark, they died in the
hide
dark.
in the
There's a lot
dark.
of time in between.
Yeah.
Even when they tell you, we're going to sacrifice your child, you run away. right? You're gonna die anyway. It
Yeah.
seems like they strategized. I don't know for how long they strategized to save the children, but they definitely were not bold about it. And if you're not being
Mhm.
bold about it and you're singing lullabies to them every night, that means you saw those children in the cages
For a
and
while,
instead,
long
oh
enough
yeah.
to form some kind of connection with them. Yeah.
And yeah, it's better than the other monsters that are not singing lullabies to them, the other people in town. But still,
But
you're seeing
still,
them in a cage and
but
you're
still.
singing a lullaby instead of breaking those cages and getting them out.
And honestly, them having that last minute change of heart, if it did go down that way, that could be the only reason why they weren't turned into monsters themselves and how they get reincarnated instead of being turned into monsters because they made that last minute decision, maybe. But I like this. This is something I certainly haven't thought of and haven't considered yet. But Nick says the original Jay didn't change his mind. He was going to stop the original Tabitha. Ooh, interesting. Like maybe the original Jade and the original Tabitha weren't on board together. Maybe they were at odds with each other. Maybe the original Jade didn't want to sacrifice his child and the original Tabitha did, or maybe even vice versa. That could be an interesting storyline where maybe the original parents weren't on the same page. Maybe they didn't exactly agree to do this, whether which one was which. You can kind of swap that. But yeah, no, I think that's an interesting idea that maybe only one of the parents were in on it and the other one wasn't. Maybe I think that's an interesting possibility. Maybe, yeah, it's something I haven't heard before yet. If nothing else, that's for
I
sure.
like it. The only thing that gives me pause is wouldn't the other parent turn into a monster?
That's a good point too. Like
And
if
only
this
one of
Tabitha
them
was
be
in
given the
on this,
opportunity?
yeah, if she was in on this the whole time, would she have been made a monster as well? That's a good question. Very good question. And yeah, this better be peak, right? Cut to theory. I feel you. I really am hoping that episode 5 is going to be peak. I really am. Because again, it's not that I haven't liked the first 4 episodes. They've been good, but I think I've had like an average score of around like 7.5 out of 10 for the first 4 episodes. And for me, I'm usually slinging out a lot of 8s and 9s when it comes to From, because I love this show. But yeah, I'm hoping that episode 5 is going to be that episode that really kind of just, we get a nice big bang, some nice information, some nice revelations, and really sets the tone for the second half of the season. The second half of the season, of which we don't really know what's coming. A lot of the scenes that have been in the trailers and the promotional material, we've seen most of it. Just, I mean, a good probably 75 to 80% of the scenes that are in the trailer we've already seen in the first 4 episodes. So it's looking like the second half of the season is going to be mostly all new stuff that none of us have seen yet. And I'm glad that From follows that format. Yes, there are some things in the season 4 trailer that some of us wish weren't in there, like the scarecrows from the beginning. If we didn't know this scarecrow scene was coming, yeah, it would probably hit us a lot bigger tonight. But knowing that it's coming, it kind of dampens it a little bit. But I'm very much looking forward to the second half of the season because we haven't gotten a whole lot of footage for the second half of the season. So it's going to be pretty new for just about all of us. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun. But anything for freedom has an interesting take. Yes, the monsters don't seem to regret their decisions. I wonder if their human consciousness is even there or if they're fully monsters. Yeah, I've wondered that too, because they don't even seem like there's a small trace of humanity left in them. They seem just purely evil, almost demonic in a sense. And even the creators kind of refer to them as almost demonic. So yeah, I've also often wondered that as well. They don't appear to be parents that regret their decision. So yeah, that makes me wonder if their human mind isn't exactly there anymore. It's not the same anymore. Maybe it has become corrupted by evil, and now they're just this husk of what they used to be. Because yeah, they don't seem human. They don't act human. Yes, they can pass for human. They can talk and all of that. But yeah, they don't seem remorseful for their decisions. They certainly don't seem upset that they have been turned into these nightmare creatures. It just seems like all of the humanity has been completely drained out of them.
Yeah. I think when I think of poetic justice, right? If I was an entity and I was an entity that does want to bargain with people that are willing to give me their children, but I am an all knowing entity, Lovecraftian, I would know these people are bad. The way that you just sacrificed your children to me without a care. You didn't sacrifice yourself or your soul, you sacrificed their soul and your children, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, this is the biggest betrayal
Yeah.
in the world. You could betray somebody in many different forms, in a relationship, as a sibling, but when it is a child and their parent, that is the biggest betrayal, because you created them. That is almost like your creator, your God, turning against you, turning their back on you and betraying you. They created you and now they're doing this, right? I feel like it's one of the biggest betrayals that anybody could experience, especially when you are so vulnerable, that
Mhm.
you're a child that can't do anything, right?
Mhm.
So if I'm this entity and I want some poetic justice, I'll take the souls, but I still would turn them into monsters, give them eternal life, at night only. Like you have to
First
sleep
into the
during the
dark.
day. And
Yep.
then I would make them wear a smile. I would make the smile be part of it, be part of the deal. Like you happily gave me your children. So guess what? Now you're going to live forever with a smile on your face. Just as happy as you were to give me your children, you're going to be happy in your life. So maybe
Yeah.
they don't smile because they feel happy. They smile because that is just part of the deal. They have to wear
Mhm.
a smile on their face. They have to look pristine, like they are, completely good people, right? Because they all look like they're the townspeople you could trust. Like, oh, it's the mechanic, the milkman. You don't imagine them to be this horrible people that did this to children. And I
Yeah.
would make it
Not the
poetic
fucking
justice.
milkman. Not the
Not the
not the
milkman.
nice granny, not the harmless nice old granny. Come on.
And Granny is one of the first ones that we see take advantage
Yeah.
of a child's innocence and their naivety and say, "Hey, I'm your grandma, Megan. Why don't you open this door for me?"
Yep.
Grandma,
Yep.
somebody you're supposed to trust, right?
Yeah.
So I would make them wear a smile just so that it could be justice and a small part, a small way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like, and I know we've talked about it a lot, but I've always liked that idea, the idea of the poetic justice, that the monsters are forced to kind of live the life that they put their children through. Born in the dark, lived in the dark. Now the monsters are confined to the dark for all eternity. They can never see the sunlight again. A cosmic justice, in a sense, for what they did to their own children. I've always liked the balance of that, the yin and yang. It feels like that's the universe balancing itself out in that one small instance. But yeah, they definitely don't seem like they feel any physical pain, as you say, Justin. No physical pain. They don't seem to have any emotions. I mean, they seem to have like a little bit of cruelty. They certainly enjoy being cruel. And we learned that a little bit from Fatima, even more in last week's episode, when she straight up says that Smiley likes her pain. He's enjoying her pain. So yeah, it seems like all traces of humanity, of who they once were, is completely gone. Unless these were like really, really evil humans. That is also a possibility as well. I mean, these were people that sacrificed their own children, after all. They're definitely not good people. But then again, we don't know the circumstances as to why they sacrificed their children. What exactly brought them to make that choice? Still a lot of questions that we have. But yeah, just based on what we can see so far, it doesn't look like the monsters are very remorseful. It definitely doesn't look like they have a whole lot of humanity left in them. Almost like they are just these withered husks, these demonic withered husks of what they used to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't
The
know.
only way, and I know we don't have that much time because we are like minutes away, right, from the episode. But
We
the only
are
way
13.
that I have ever perceived the parents being able to get some sort of sympathy from me as to what they did is if they had a situation like the first colonizers of
Yeah,
this land,
a
where you are
plague or
coming, you're
something.
you're coming into this new land and you don't know how to farm, you don't know how to set up camp, so you're starving, like a lot of colonies did. A lot of the first colonies didn't succeed because they didn't know the land, and they also were not pros at living in this sort of weather temperature land. So
Yeah, did they face some kind of
if
hardship? Yeah.
if the parents were part of a colony where they brought their children over, they were dying of starvation, which the town is starving
plague.
currently. That's why they're going over there to the Ceramon to get food, because they're also having issues with food. If they're dying of starvation and somebody shows up and they tell you, you're gonna die anyway, your children are gonna die, there is no food for you or them. But if you
But by having them
sacrifice
die
them
this
to me,
way, yeah.
if you sacrifice them to me, I will give you all eternal life. All of you will have eternal life. You don't need to eat. You will not need to drink. Everything will be okay. That is the only way that they would have my sympathy. Them saying, I either die with nothing or I do this one thing and all of us could live. Me and my children could live, right? If there is no other choice. That is the only way that I would have a little bit of sympathy, like they were played, you know.
Yeah, like where they forced, like was it life or death? And we've talked a little bit about some of those darker kind of possibilities, and that would be very dark. But like you said, it would at least paint the parents in a light that isn't 100% evil. If this was some kind of choice that they were manipulated into making due to famine, plague, whatever the case may be, because we do now know that the original parents were alive centuries ago, many, many centuries ago. That 1506 date might be when all of this traces back to, if all of those dates in the lighthouse are accurate. So yeah, I think it's sacrificing your children, it goes against everything of what a parent is supposed to be. Like you were saying, a parent's one job is to protect their child. Yet, in this instance, if that was the case, could that be a reason why they decided to do the one thing that a parent never should, harm their child? Yeah, I don't know. Again, I've always enjoyed that discussion, that maybe these parents were forced into this decision because of some kind of famine or some kind of plague, or they were facing some kind of enemy, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I'm hoping we get some definitive answers. It looks like we are just 10 minutes away now, ladies and gents. We are just 10 minutes away from episode 5. So we'll get ready here to shut this down in a few minutes, so all of you guys can have time to get your drinks, get your snacks, get ready to go watch episode 5, and then come back here and join us for the after show as soon as we're done watching. I will throw the link to the watch party in the chat one more time. Here is the link to the Discord watch party. Just in case some of you maybe don't have access to the episode right at midnight, you can hop into the Discord and watch it in there. Our other co-host, Lord Ravener, will be streaming the episode just after midnight when it drops. And for those of you that do have access to the episode on your own devices, make sure you come back here afterwards when you're done watching, and we will be doing a live episode 5 breakdown as soon as we are done watching. But yeah, here we go, folks. Finally, right? Here we go. Finally, episode 5 is almost here. Just pulled my chicken out of the oven. I'm ready. Hey, perfect timing, BG. Perfect timing, my friend. Absolute perfect timing. Love it. Desperate people have resorted to eating each other, so it's completely plausible. Absolutely. I mean, and I love that in that one little line in Widow's Bay. They didn't resort to cannibalism right away. It took 4 days. But yeah, we have seen in actual history, humans get to the point where they are so desperate, so starving, they literally eat each other. Hell, the freaking soccer team that crashed in the Himalayas, for one. We had that.
I mean, the Irish famine. If you want to go down a horrible, a rabbit hole, the Irish famine forced people to decide between their children. Horrible things have happened, right? And when you are desperate and somebody offers you a religious cult-like salvation, it could be any deity, you just might be desperate enough. I'm so excited. It's almost here. I'm going to go. I need to go watch it immediately.
Yeah, I will shut this thing down and I will join you in a minute. But yes, here we go, folks. We are just 8 minutes away. 8 minutes away from episode 5. And if you guys have not already subscribed to PM's channel, get over there, give her a sub. The link to her channel is in the description of this stream. And make sure you guys check that out. And of course, the link to the watch party, I will put in the chat one more time. And I will also put the link to our episode breakdown. Now, as soon as we're done watching, the episode drops at midnight, and again, 8 minutes from now. And as soon as we're done watching, I will be firing up yet another live stream, and we will be right back here diving into all things episode 5. So I will throw the link in chat. Here is the link to the after show discussion. After you guys are done watching, be sure to come back here and hang out with us as we dive into all things episode 5. And yeah, hopefully this is going to be the episode that gives us some interesting answers, that moves the plot forward in a definitive manner. I have a lot of hope. I'm very hopeful for this episode, for sure.
Yeah, you guys pay attention to every little detail, make notes, and then come back and give us all of the info that you guys have found out, because they always figure it out. I mean, I'm telling you, the bookmarks are going to be what they said. So take down your notes and then come back and tell us your theories with the new information that we're going to get.
Indeed. Come back and join us in a little, about an hour from now, a little hour's time. The stream is set for 1 a.m. Eastern in my neck of the woods, which is an hour after the show premieres. So yeah, here we go, guys. Let's get ready. Let's get ready to go dive into this craziness. Again, the link to the watch party is in the chat, or if you have your own way of watching the episode 5 on your own MGM Plus, that is awesome. But yeah, come back and hang out with us afterwards for the after show, and we will be diving into all things episode 5. So until then, keep those tinfoil hats on, folks, and hopefully I will see you all in a few. Cheers.
Okay, ding-dongs. If you don't subscribe to Jeremy Ice and Fire, you're gonna spend the night in the box.
Aren't Cooey